Hi, everybody. Welcome to Extroverse Entertainment and our flagship show, DanCast, named after me, Dan Thompson. And I am joined tonight by Terry Ruin, the creator of Templars. Terry, how are you tonight, sir?
Oh, hi. How's it going?
It's
I
going
am
well.
I am fantastic. Wonderful.
We were comparing notes earlier about how crazy our day's been, and I was able to make Terry smile with some funniness,
hmm
some hijinks that my son and I have been up to. Should I tell the audience or just keep it a secret?
I go ahead and tell them.
All right, so yesterday we're in the Chick-fil-A line. And you guys know how like the menu's like this gigantic sign and you can't get to it when you order, so you have no idea what you're going to order. You better have that stuff memorized or have it on your phone because they'll catch you on that loop. And so we place the order. Wyatt always gets a chicken bowl. So anybody wants to, Wyatt's birthday's coming up next 2 months. He likes chicken bowls from Chick-fil-A.
So hold on.
Um,
What's a chicken bowl from Chick-fil-A?
it is chicken, eggs, and little hash brown potatoes, and it's pretty damn good. Now he doesn't eat all of the eggs and the potatoes, so he's like, "Here, Dad," and I finish it off.
I
So I'm
mean,
trying to like drive and eat at the same time.
throw a little gravy in that and it sounded real good.
Oh yeah. Well, my wife made an omelet for dinner tonight for us, and it was pretty good.
You know, I made
Avocado.
I made soup. I make a really good and I'm not just bragging on myself, but my daughter loves the beef stew that I make so much that she will ask me randomly, "Will you make the soup?" It's when she wants the
Will you make
soup.
the soup? We
It
should
is,
have we should have like a potluck dinner. We'll do a toy talk live when everybody can bring something.
yeah, hell, we're
The
close. Man, we can do
fake
that. Maybe,
redneck David that we ran into at the show last week could
yeah,
come.
maybe we can get
If real
Dana.
David can't, and
Maybe we can
bring
get
in Dana White and
he lives down there. Yeah.
some other folks. So we're going through the drive-through line, and this isn't my gimmick or anything. It's a guy named Robert McCauley. He's super funny, and he does this. He's called the Sir Guy. So he does this lady's voice and can throw his voice, and he does it at all these different places like Home Depot, Lowe's, drive-throughs, restaurants, out in the parking lot. And people like literally think there's a woman. Like he'll say, "I'm in the tile," and they're like looking up in the ceiling, like, "How'd you get up there?" Oh, it's hilarious. And I watched like 10 of them, and I was crying. So Wyatt watches it, so we'll try to duplicate it. And I messaged him one time, and I said, "We got somebody at Chick-fil-A. We got somebody yesterday." So we place our order, and we get to where the big giant menu sign is, and I start going, "Hey sir, hey sir," and this lady on the other side, like the Chick-fil-A guy, walks up to her. He's like, "Yes, ma'am." And she's like, "I didn't say nothing, but I heard somebody hollering, 'Hey, sir.'" And I did it again. She goes, "I know I ain't crazy. I just heard it again." And Wyatt's in the back seat giggling, and they can't see us at all. And I'm just sitting there like John Rambo, Commando. He eats things that make a billy goat puke. Like, don't laugh, keep straight face. And then today at Target, there was tons of people. And Wyatt's like, this particular Target by my shop, I used to always do stuff. I'd make this whistle sound, and people thought it was like a car alarm and stuff, and it would follow them into the store. And I'm like, I hear that alarm. So we did it again today, and I was like, "Hey, sir," and this lady folding clothes looks over, and she's like, "Did somebody say something?" And I do it again, and she like, "Did somebody say, 'Hey, sir?'" And I said, "Yeah, I thought I heard somebody hollering, sir." And I'm like, "I don't see anybody." And Wyatt runs off. He always sticks by me, but he runs off, darts behind an aisle, and he's over there, face in his hands, just crying, laughing. Yeah, we he pulled this off 2 days in a row, man. It was great. Um, I did get a little sad news this morning, and I want to give condolences. And my aunt Elaine, who was a wonderful lady, passed away uh, a couple nights ago from cancer. So our hearts and prayers to my uncle David and my cousin Carrie, if they're watching by chance or something, or any member of my family, extended family. Very sorry for your loss. She was a fantastic lady, and so we'll try to have a good, fun show in honor of her tonight. So tonight's show. Uh, we're talking to Terry Ruin about Templars, which is on backer kit right now, which I believe is almost a fourth of the way funded in just like less than a week. And some guy that we both know wrote the comic book that goes with it. We don't want to talk about that jerk. And then after Terry leaves and we talk about that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Kentuckiana GI Joe Expo last weekend and some of the stuff I picked up, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about San Diego Comic Con, which is going on right now, and I'm sure we'll talk on Toy Talk about some of the reveals because there's been some cool stuff they've released. So before we get into Terry's thing, uh, I always kind of borrow this line from a fellow YouTuber named Michael French who does retro blasting, and he always says the fans do the best work. And he's in regards to like crowdfunding toys or creating toys. There's like a Stan Solo guy that does Star Wars figures that were in the movie but not made. Bobby Vala and Valaverse, the Eagle Force people, Marauder Gun Runners, Ramen Toys, Gridiron Studios. There's so many different groups out there, and there was some group that's doing stuff at San Diego Comic Con. And Terry, you're following in those footsteps, and I think that's pretty awesome. So, can you tell us a little bit about your project and what got you into it, why you did it, and all the assorted detail?
Well, it all kind of started over the last several years, getting into third party O-ring figures, and realizing that as much as I love classified and as much as I love modern figures, O-ring is where my heart is. Like I love the O-ring style figures. You can see behind me, I've got a ton of loose GI Joes in the custom clamshell packaging that I sell. They're a lot of fun, man, and they were the perfect thing whenever we were kids. And this is kind of fulfilling a dream, basically. I have wanted I wanted to do something like this for a long time, but more so, my mindset was I wish somebody would do this. And I always wanted to see GI Joe in the O-ring format with a continuation of like adventure team type themes. And when you and I began talking about it, and I had said something about a comic, you're like, why don't you do it? And you offered to help, and you'd already published 2 books, and we started out with the idea to make this a comic that would later on have figures, and we'd figure out how to do that when it came around to it. And you came up with the story for the Mask of Mordred. You wrote those first couple pages, and I loved what you did with it. And I didn't have a lot of confidence in my my story creation or story writing ability. And you know how much material I handed you and was like, this here, this. And
Oh yeah,
you
I needed
edited
almost 2
everything.
computer screens.
Yeah, and you edited everything and did the scripting, and then I put together those last couple pages for it to wrap up the story in 12 pages instead of, what was it we originally planned, 48?
Well, I'd suggested if we were going to do um, or a comic book version or whatnot, to do a graphic novel,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't go any less than 48 pages, no more than I think I said 96 or 98, because you got to do everything in increments of 4
Right.
when it comes to the printer. And I just felt like, I wanted to keep your costs down because you're paying me, you're paying the artists, which I brought in my artist from the Dominus, and then you knew the color, you had a colorist in mind and letterer and all that.
Which
And so I thought, well, we could probably cut this down to even smaller. It's funny because like you said, I urge you to do it. It makes you, David, and a few other people I know are like, you're the guy that pushes me off the ledge. And I was like, I hope that's a good thing. Like, hopefully there's it's like in Lethal Weapon when he jumps off with the guy, and there's like that big, the big air mattress. Um, but let's see, John off at 99.79. Sorry about your family's loss, Dan. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Uh, she was my well, I don't want to rank my aunts because I don't want to make anybody jealous, but she was really cool. I really enjoyed talking to her. We had some really good heart to hearts, and she told me some stuff about my grandparents that just kind of made me smile. Because I don't know those that know the story, but we don't. We're not here to talk about Dan's family tree. We're here to talk about Terry's Templars. So Templars, you had the idea, and I like where you're coming from with that because I'm kind of the same way. Like I'll go look in toy aisles. I mean, ever since I kind of got back into toys, like in the mid '90s, I liked what I saw, but I just felt like something was missing. Something was missing. And then same thing with comic books. And it's why ultimately I ended up doing my book, or books, whatever. And I like your track there with that, the way your mind is tracking with that. So you get to the point you decide you want to do something, and I don't know if I'm going to jump ahead on you or not, but I know one of the things we talked about was trying to produce the figures here in the States.
Right. So from the comic book shrinking in size, I kind of started working on figures at the same time that we were working on pages and stuff for the comic. And it ended up turning into something I wanted to include with each of the figures in the wave. And there are 6 figures in the wave. So 12 pages is what I came up with. You have the card back. It's an insert to collector friendly packaging. The card back comes out, the figures in a vac form tray with the accessories. So, to include the story with all of the figures, you open the card back and it's 2 pages of the comic book story.
I like that idea.
And then on the back, you have a dossier file for the character that gives even more content for that packaging. That way, the comic book story is included with each figure. And then over the wave of 6 figures, you have the 12 pages of the story included. So it's like a build a comic. And one of the things that I've been asked about is if we're going to release a digital version for backers to download. And I want to do that. It won't be until everything is out, but I want to make available to all of the backers on BackerKit a digital download of the full comic book story, include all of the cover art that we had done because we had 2 covers done, include all of that and some of the preliminary artwork, figure turnarounds. I've got figure turnarounds and original artwork from Rick Lopez, George Vega, Elizu Uvea. Just awesome artists have helped bring this to life. And it's literally like looking at a dream come true. It's like looking at a piece of my imagination made real. And that's one of the things that we'll include. So,
Well, I like one of the things you told me when we were talking about it, and you asked me to come on board with it. Um, which I don't mean to minimize my involvement in it. I'm trying to kind of put you over and put the project over, not myself. But you had said like there's a lot of toys that get crowdfunded and they get made, and then that's it. And one of the things you and I always talk about with like GI Joe, the Transformers, He-Man, whatever it might be, there was kind of a story that went along with the toy. It might be a movie, a cartoon, a comic, and it kind of gave you an emotional investment in the characters and their journeys and what they were up to. And you wanted that with this project, and I really appreciated that, and that's where I kind of came in, took the plotting that you did, the ideas and stuff, and kind of slimmed it up and did the scripting and editing and whatever. But I think I appreciate that idea that it's not just like here's figure X. Okay, cool. What do I do with him?
right.
Where it's like Valaverse, they have their storyline with their characters.
And I've read the Valaverse comics and really liked them, dude.
Yeah, and I mean, I know I talk me and my best friend J Span, if he's watching. What up, Jeremy? We talk a lot about Bobby and his stuff, and I said one time, like, if I had won that big mega lottery, I was going to buy up so much stock in Hasbro. I was going to have a meeting, like I was George Patton mixed with Alec Baldwin from Glenn Ross, and rip them a new one over like, why haven't you gotten kids? And I was going to hire Bobby to run Hasbro if I won the lottery, just to troll the Hasbro execs that screwed up. But anyway, no, I'd really, stuff like that. Like he's building a universe, and it's like you kind of want to get the figures because like we saw some of the Valaverse Black figures. It has to do with the pirates, and my buddy got some of those, and he was like, "Hey, don't buy them from the scalpers. Buy them directly from him." I was like, "You're right." So I'm gonna buy mine directly from him, and I'm sure it'll be the same with your stuff. Scalpers will have them out there, and like they do with classified and everything else. Um, but I like that idea of having a story that you can emotionally connect with the characters. And if I may, with the toy line, and I might, no, I'm going to wait because you're gonna. I don't want to jump ahead of your what you're doing. I don't want to be accused of not letting you talk uh, by our mutual friend, who I hope you're feeling better, David. So to tell us more about the actual, like you and I had talked, and we said something about maybe making the figures in the States because there was all the pushback about the fake tariff stuff. Like GI Joe's getting made in India, and
So
Hasbro's like, oh, well, we got tariffs from China, and they're made in India.
So when I started looking at some of the stuff for like manufacturing toys, we had talked about manufacturing here in the States, that would be like the epitome of what I wanted to do. I wanted these figures to be made in America. Um, I talked
America.
to several factories. I found a factory and had a meeting with them. I went in. They gave me a tour. They discussed everything with me as far as like what would need to happen in order to make these figures, and everything sounded good until it came down to paint apps. They can't do paint apps. They can't do the fine line work on some of these figures. We
Mm.
do not have the skilled workforce in America to do this in mass production.
Wasn't there something with the molding too?
The molds were very expensive to have made here, but they're fully capable of making them in-house. I visited their mold shop. They showed me everything. They showed me how they make molds. They showed
You
me all
know,
the machines, but
and the
it's
thing
just
that solves that,
prohibitively expensive. So
the
they
thing
wanted
that
to make the molds
solves,
in
sorry,
China and ship them over here.
the thing that solves that mold price is if more stuff was made here, it brings the
Right.
price down.
Right.
But with it being so exotic that like, oh, well, we do one out of a million every now, the price goes up. I just wish we could get back as a nation making all our stuff here, because it can be done. I mean, they make car parts here. They
Right.
make cars here. I mean, we have a Toyota plant in Georgetown, and it's been there for I don't know what 30, 40 years, 30 years. Well, I don't want to get feel old. But yeah, I was really disappointed when we couldn't see that to fruition. And I mean, I understand why. It's a pricing thing. But the fact that it can be done is encouraging. It's just
Well,
we need more people doing it to bring the price down.
it can be molded, but we don't have the skilled workforce to do the paint apps if they're being done by hand.
And I'm
And
definitely not one of that skilled workforce because I can't
even
paint
if
for you
they're
know
done
what.
with a paint mask, they have to make the paint masks out of copper because of deterioration and keeping it uniform, because they have to be cleaned. They would have to make a copper paint mask and spray it. And there's also something to do. And I didn't hear this from the factory because they didn't really have any information for me on it other than we can't do it. Um, there's something to do environmentally with some of the paint that they use that we can't do that.
Uh,
So,
what was your recourse on that?
so Jason Schermeyer of Strike Force Alpha and White Elephant Toys, he's been producing toys in China for a really long time. He offered to help, and we had talked about it. We had talked about all kinds of things. We had talked about making figures here. We had talked about making the figures that he's done throughout the years, and he offered to help and take it on and be the project manager for it. And I trust him. He's been making toys for over 20 years. He's had multiple successful lines, and yeah, he's all about it.
I got to meet him briefly on Saturday, I guess before he
Mhm.
fell ill and got stuck in transportation hell.
Oh, really?
Well, you said he had. I think that's who you were talking about.
No,
Oh,
That's Jason Packard.
oh, okay. I got him. I got my Jasons mixed up.
Yeah, that was
There's a
Jason
lot of
Packard
Jasons out there.
that I ended up having to drive. So after I got home Saturday evening, I ended up having to drive all the way back down to Elizabethtown, Kentucky,
Oh,
and take him to a hotel by the airport so that he could get to the airport and get home the next day.
gosh.
Yeah, so he was stuck in Kentucky and said that he'll never be back.
I don't blame him. I feel like I've been stuck in Kentucky. Um, okay, well, I think I met a Jason because Steve Stovall introduced me to, or kind of like, hey, go talk to him. Um, and Steve and I were talking about your project the other week, and then we were talking in person about it. Um, and I liked your announcement you made. You had a pretty good announcement voice, I have to say. When you announced at the show, I was like, I know
I've
him.
been on a microphone a few times.
All right. Well, Terry used to roll with the Biz Marquee back in the day and was part of a hip hop group called the Juice Crew. No, I'm teasing. So rest in peace, Biz Marquee, because we just came up on the anniversary of his passing. Um, so you're gonna get it made in China. You got a project manager. Where are we at on that?
That's it. As far as what aspect of it, where are we?
So you had prototypes at the show, which I
Yeah.
thought that when you talked about seeing something out of your mind, you
Mhm.
know, in the physical form. When I walked by the your table, your big Templar setup, and I saw the card art, the packaging, the figures, the prototype figures. Man, I have to say, I got kind of a little verklempt. It was just kind of neat to see that because we've been talking about it for a while. Now, how many times have you picked them up and played with them?
Every day. every day.
I tell you what, one of the biggest thrills for me was sitting on my couch in my little reading spot, and my son Wyatt was reading one of my books right next to me. That was like the biggest dad unlock achievement. And I have a feeling like you're going to have that with your kids playing with your action figures you made. You're going to sit back and be like, oh man, that's so cool. I
I
made
hope,
all that. I
man.
made everything in the room here, the kids and the figures. But no, it's a cool feeling, and I hope you get to experience that. So now on the figures themselves, what makes these figures special? Why
So
do I want to sign up and get this?
several things make these figures special. One, they blend in with other O-ring lines pretty much seamlessly. They go right along with GI Joe. They go right along with the other independent lines that are coming out, and they have swappable hands, swappable boots, and they will have swappable heads. These figures, you can swap the head without disassembling the torso. They have a pop and swap feature. Like 25th anniversary GI Joes use that same
Oh yeah,
mechanism. Marauders Task Force uses that same mechanism. Strike Force Alpha uses it and calls it the pop and swap feature for the hands, boots, and heads. Another feature that we've incorporated into these figures is the use of modular accessories. When I was a kid, I always thought it was kind of weird to have a pistol or a knife or something that was molded onto the clothing of the figure instead of having like a functional accessory. So we will have functional accessories on these figures instead of having them molded on. You can see that knife comes out of the sheath, and the sheath pops off. So you can swap out different accessories.
oh that's cool.
The backpack has accessory ports where you can put pouches or pretty much any other item that'll fit in there. And we're using the same port size as Marauder Task Force. So most of Marauder's accessories will also work with these figures.
So Terry, this was me when I was a kid, and when my Joes were using their sidearms, they just had their hand extended like they had a gun in the
Yeah.
hand, and I would have to pretend there was a gun. So now, adult Dan, if he gets drunk enough, can come down here and doesn't have to pretend. He can just put the gun in the hand. That's great. I like that idea. I think I've told you this before in person on Toy Talk. Uh, I am not a customizer in the way of like painting or sculpting. I'm part of
Well,
that unskilled workforce that you don't want me anywhere near painting them figures, right?
We
But I
wanted
like
these
this.
figures to work with something that to work with stuff that was already out in the market. We want to make our own. We are making our own. I have Don Menart is actually designing some of the real life customized weapons. That's what I want with these for the firearms and accessories. I want stuff that looks like it was customized by an end user with like aftermarket parts, because everybody, like, if you're in the gun world, you know that guns are just as much kind of like Barbies for men.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I know what you mean.
changing out stocks and grips and
Well,
whatnot.
that's what I like about the idea of this figure. That like, if I want to customize it, it's kind of like the Marauder gun runners. I made
Yeah,
figures out of their. I used their bodies and made Dominus figures. And like I had somebody paint a priest collar on for the priest
yeah,
because, like I said, I can't paint and I can't sculpt. I have a friend that does the sculpting. He throws the putty on. He's great. Hasbro should anybody should pick this guy up and use him. I can't do that stuff, but I like with your thing. If I want my guys wearing gloves, if I want
mhm,
the good guy to be dressed like the bad guy, I can do all that
right,
and not have to be some skilled painter or put a sculptor. You know, I like that idea, and I love the idea that if I want to mix them with Joe's, if I want to mix them with Skeletron, we talked about I think on Toy Talk about one of the cultist figures, which I'm sure you'll show what they look like in a minute, having the Skeletron head and how
right.
freaking dope
Yes,
that would be.
the Skeletron head on one of the cultist figures with the cloak would be awesome. Now we are going to be doing some parts reuse, and that's why we made this basic this basic buck for the first two figures. The first two figures will use the same body, different paint apps, different heads, and we can use parts from this down the road in other figures. Especially since we have the pop and swap feature, we can use those across multiple different figures as well.
That's awesome. I love that idea, man. I think that's smart. I used to have a customer that would come in and bitch about Marvel Legends reusing parts or classified reusing parts. I'm sure he watched the Bobby Vala video about reusing parts and why they do that, and he's probably still bitching this particular character. And I remember he was carrying on about it, and I said, "Did you like the original Joes, the original 13?" Oh yeah, who doesn't? I love those guys. I'm like, they were like the same figure,
Yeah, they
like
were.
except for like three of them, and they had like four different heads. I'm like, come on now. And I'm like,
Yeah,
it's the military. Well, because he was griping about, well, Beachhead's boots look like this guy's boots. I'm like, they're in the military. They wear the same boots, But no, I like this. I like the idea of being smart with the figures and being able to reuse some of the parts. And like I said, I love the idea to be able to customize them. And I think the port idea is excellent. I really think that's the way all figures need to be now. You see it in classified in some of the Marvel Legends where like the gun will slide in the holster or the knife will come out, and it doesn't make the figure look bulky or silly.
and before
Uh,
I did that, I actually talked to Maraud. I talked to the guys in Marauders and asked them what they thought about it, and they
they're
thought
pretty
that
excited
cool.
about this,
Yeah.
from what I
Uh,
understand.
Miles and Paul were both there at the show, and they both looked at it. They both really liked it. I think they both backed it.
Those guys are great, man. Uh, I'm going to talk about the show later after you're gone, but I walked right in and man, I looked over. There was the booth and dropped some coin, and I was like, damn,
Well, right
because I was
now
going to
we're at
film video of the show, and I was like, I can't even do that. I got to pay attention to what I'm spending.
right now we are at 30 backers with 29 days left. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. SDCC is going on, a bunch of GI Joe stuff dropping, and I expect that people who are interested in something like this, they're also ordering GI Joe stuff. I want to make it clear that nothing is charged until the end of the campaign, and backer kit allows you to pay in payments. Our largest pledge level is the all-in pledge level. It comes with all 6 packaged figures. It comes with 2 3-figure troop packs without the packaging. They're bagged. and a seventh very special figure. If we break $100,000 in the campaign, it will be Quetzal. And this character's appearance for the backer kit exclusive is an homage to the Once a Man Cobra Commander. This is our nod to that, but it is its own character that we're going to make.
So can you get a little bit into like each figure and the storyline? Like what is Templars? Tell us what that is. What's
So
the world? What's that universe?
Imagine if the Knights Templar were still active today in the sense of like being an actual secret society that conducts operations. It's a modern take on the Knights Templar, and every story has a kind of a MacGuffin device where they look for artifacts. They look for like enchanted or cursed artifacts to try and recover those and protect humanity from them. And the Order of Shadows cult is a cult that worships the artifacts. They believe that they will bring the artifacts will bring them to a higher state of being, basically.
Kind of sounds like real life in a way.
A little bit, yeah.
That's a whole nother show.
So it's very family oriented. The group is very familial, and the bad guys kind of, you can't really tell if the cultists are just deranged true believers or if they are mind wiped zombies, because they have no sense of self-preservation at all. And the person you see leading the cult in this first story, the collector, Dr. Lucian Wilde, he's very mysterious. There's a lot about him that you just can't put your finger on. And one of those things is his age. He's very, very old. And I don't want to reveal exactly how old he is until we get a couple stories in.
I love his design. I think he looks badass.
We have George Vega and Zoo to thank for that, because they took the.
I tell you, man.
And
I told you, Zoo takes what's in your imagination and puts it on paper. He did that for me.
It is working with him. It's like he plucks these images right out of my mind.
It's incredible. I met him through a friend. I think I told you this when you interviewed me like eons ago. What David said, it was like a month ago we started Toy Talk. That was, a year and a half ago or whatever. And you interviewed me, and I was telling you that I needed an artist to fit my story. And I was, went to him, and man, when I wrote the 4th chapter of my first book, and when he started sending me the pages, I teared up because I'm like, oh my God, that's exactly what I saw in my head. And I mean, to the T. And it's like, he gets it, man. He gets it.
Yes.
And he's not too proud that if you tell him to redo something, he redoes it. And most of the time you don't have to. He's that good. Real quick on the chat, we have Xtron XX23. What's up, Dan? What's up to you? Hope you guys are having a good Friday and a great weekend. You know how you can have a better weekend? Is come to Zone Comics and Toys tomorrow, because I will be there. I will be there with J-Span and probably Ramser and a few other characters, and we will be chopping it up. And we may have some new G.I. Joes for you, because depending on if Southern Hobby shipped them in time, we might have some new Classified and some new Transformers that I'll probably be talking about on Sunday on Toy Talk, a show that I do with this beautiful bald guy. Terry, did you do something different with your hair tonight? It kind of looks like you did.
Yeah, I just, wiped it down real good whenever I woke up.
Wyatt said something really funny. We were at Target and he saw the silly ad with the Rock and the Papatui or whatever it's called, his hair head thing. And Wyatt said, "Why would anybody want to use that? It would make you bald."
What's wrong with being bald?
Well, there's nothing wrong with being bald, but if you got hair, you don't want to use Papatui and go bald. Shout out to The Rock and your big movie, your live action Momoa bombed. Another bomb this summer, man. What's up with the summer movies? We need a Templars movie to get the box office numbers up.
Well, man, we need something. We need something
Hell,
to
they're
do.
going to do a Days of Thunder 2. Did you hear about that?
No.
Yeah, they're doing a Days of Thunder 2 with Tom Cruise. And I have to say,
I don't want
you
it.
know, when he jumped on Mother Oprah's couch like a lunatic, I kind of like wrote him off. But in the last few years, man, he's pretty based and pretty solid. And I watched an interview of him talking about how they made movies during COVID when they were doing Top Gun Maverick. And that little devil was calling up other studios. And so, say you're a studio exec, Terry. He's like, "Hey, Terry, you guys filming?" And you're like, "No, because of COVID, man. We can't." He goes, "Oh, we are here at Paramount. We're filming Top Gun Maverick, man. We're doing all the safety precautions and masked up and all that, social distancing." And, "Oh, really? Yeah." And then so you start filming your movies. So then he goes to Paramount and says, "Hey, Terry's studio, they're filming their movies. We need to get going with ours." And he said he got the movie business going again. And I'm like, the guy's a sly devil, man. And he's an artist, and I have a lot of respect for him now.
Dude, I like Tom Cruise's acting, and I like what he does.
Good runner too.
Whether I agree with like his personal views on things doesn't really matter. I don't have to like his movies or his acting.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't
he
have
gave
to.
some speech at the World Cup or something that was pretty moving too, from what I heard. Um, I don't know, man. He doesn't look like he ages. He takes care of himself. He does a lot of his own stunts.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty solid, man. Did you see the thing that came out about Matt Damon? Or I'm sorry, Matt Damon. His stunt double in the Odyssey was a woman,
Mm-mm.
and he admitted that because somebody was posted something about it, and they're like, some things you just kind of go to the grave with. And he was like, "Oh yeah, she had bigger arms than me."
Yeah, I don't really care. I've seen a lot of people say that the Odyssey is awesome, that it looks great. I don't think it looks great. I don't really. Oh, it's a fantasy movie. Yeah, I know it's a fantasy movie, but it's also not quite accurate to the
The
original
Greeks aren't
story.
too happy about it,
Right.
and it's about them, so it's kind of like
It's kind of one of those things that it's like loosely based on the Odyssey.
Christopher Nolan's kind of hit or miss for me. I respect his art and I respect his craft.
Dude, I love some of the stuff that he's done.
Oh, I love Inception. I know a lot of
This
people hate it.
is one that I just have no interest in seeing. I wanted
Yeah, I
to
mean,
when I first heard it was coming out. I wanted to, and like the castings seem off, and like I don't care. Like I'm not just specifically talking about the characters that everyone wants to point out. Well, they're only in the film for 20 minutes or however long. That's not what I'm talking about. The casting
talking
is
about
just
Lady Wakanda.
no. I'm just talking about the castings in general. Seem to
I
be
think
all
Matt Damon's a horrible choice for Odysseus.
yeah. I don't think Matt Damon was a good choice for Odysseus.
That's kind of my big hang up on it because I'm not sold on him. His best role was when Mark Wahlberg killed him because he was a rat in The Departed.
Yeah.
He looked like a frat boy running around in the Bourne movies. I mean, yeah, they were cool, but at the end of the day, he looked like he's just a frat boy running around in movies. And I'm just like, I'm not buying him in the Odyssey. I mean, he can try to look as much as he want as Josh Brolin, but if you want to have somebody look like Josh Brolin, just cast Josh Brolin.
Right.
Like that guy is a beast, man, when it comes to
Cast
acting.
Josh Brolin.
Dude, he's awesome. I love that guy. Since Goonies. They forget Thanos, but what'd you think of the? I'm sorry, we're off topic, but we do this. This is what we do every Sunday, really. So it's just like a preview of Sunday, and we'll probably say the same crap on Sunday.
Probably.
What'd you think of the Avengers trailer?
I didn't watch it.
I watched it. It didn't move me one way or the other. I'm probably. I don't know if I'll see it or not.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't gone to see a Marvel film in theater in quite some time.
It's if you don't count Deadpool, the last one I saw was Endgame.
Well, we went to see Deadpool.
Hey, chat, what did you guys think about the Avengers trailer? I know some of you folks that are watching, what'd you think? Thumbs up, thumbs down. You're Commodus and Gladiator, and you got your thumb like this, and you're looking at the crowd, telling them to shish. Are you going to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Uh, Charles Jones, 3535, says, I have zero interest in Nolan's Odyssey. Well, that's not what I asked. I asked about the Avengers trailer, but yeah, thank you for that. Oh, here we go. Carl Wilson Art. Who Carl is a great artist, Terry. Once Carl, I'm going to pitch you here real quick before I read your thing. Um, Carl did some black and white sketches of the Dominus characters that I'm
Mhm.
going to put in a future book. And if you really get going, we're going with the Templar stuff. We might want to holler at him for that. Hey Dan, long time no see from Carl. Oh, well, you just disappeared, Carl. Back in town and come by very soon. Uh, Tron says up. Carl Wilson Art, see that movie soon. Okay. The movie I have to tell you, a trailer I saw last week that eclipsed the Avengers trailer for me and teared me up a little bit was I Play Rocky. To those that don't know, I'm a huge Stallone fan. I think he has a fantastic story. I think he's a fantastic actor, writer, director, all that stuff. And this is a movie about him writing Rocky
I like Stallone.
and having the gun. And those that don't know, Stallone had the idea of Rocky and wrote it in 3 days, and he pitched it, and the studio loved it, and they were surprised that he did it in 3 days, and they were like, "Oh, we'll get Robert Redford, we'll get Dustin Hoffman," and he's like, "I got to play the guy," and they're like, "You're not an actor. You sound like you have rocks in your mouth. You don't look the part. You're just some dumb Italian. We're not going to cast you in this movie." And he's okay. Well, I'll take my script, and he left. He was parking cars. He was doing whatever he could. I think he even did a porno. And
I heard that, and I've never, not that I've looked for it, but I've never seen any proof.
Weirdly, I kind of want to. Weirdly, I kind of want to look for it, but I'm just,
Just to see if it's real.
Yeah, I might need to go to confession about that later. But anyway, we don't need to dwell on that. Um, he sold his dog. He sold his dog because he had no money, and they offered him like 100K, 300K, or 200K, 300K, and he wouldn't budge, man. He stuck to his freaking guns, and that's why I respect him so much. And then they finally caved, and they gave him the part, and the rest is history, man. And it's just so amazing. Okay, we got HK Viper says, "Evening all, trailer was meh for me." And then Carl Wilson Art, "Hey Eddie." Is that like a throwback to Eddie Murphy? I get half, Eddie. Eddie, give me half. For those that know what that is. I love, man, Eddie Murphy's freaking awesome. I Play Rocky looks phenomenal. Sounds just like Stallone. I agree, Tron, X23. That should be that. I'm not a fan of the Oscars because they're rigged. It's a rigged system. It's all rigged. Sorry, don't want to trigger anybody. It's just an impersonation. Didn't tell you to vote for it. Just doing an impersonation. I Play Rocky should win everything, just from the trailer alone. And there's something in the trailer he says, Terry, that gets me every time I watch it. He says this movie is about giving your all and doing your best and going the distance. And he goes, "Who am I to write this if I don't live it?" And I was just like, damn.
Man, that's kind of how I feel about the Templars project. Like I personally have a really bad problem with self-confidence and believing that anything that I work on is like worthy or gonna do what I think it should or what I want to. So that's something that I fight with all the time. That's a thing that's constantly in the back of my mind. That's why I like make contingency plans for everything and whatnot. But the way that I'm looking at this project is if we get there, then I'll be over the moon about it. And if we don't, then I've learned a lot along the way, and I'll launch it again and we'll succeed that time. It wouldn't be like we still have 29 days left and we're 25% of the way to funding the first two figures.
That's freaking. Well, everybody does the last day. To tell you something real quick, the when I did the Dominus book, the last day was like watching the election returns in like 2016 or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh gosh, North Carolina just went for Dan Thompson and the Dominus. I mean, it was like literally like I refresh and it's like 10 more people signed up. Everybody does it on the last day. That's the big pop.
A lot of people do it on the last day. I've got a really, really good amount of followers on it. I'm confident that it is going to do what it needs to do. I also very much want it to break that $100,000 mark so that we can make that bonus figure. I've got a couple things I got to set up. I've got a friend in Canada who is wanting to make a very large investment in it. Some other things going. I'm watching it. I'm getting backers daily. But in the back of my mind, it's like, oh, it didn't instantly explode. So then, it's like that thing fighting that me fighting with myself.
Let that go. Let that stuff go, man. You got it.
Yeah, it's really easy.
Light at the end of the tunnel. That's what I tell everybody.
It's really.
I need to give you the dad speech that I gave David.
No, it wouldn't help, man. That's the thing. It wouldn't help. It's not something that I can just like push out of my mind. I'm doing my best to fight against that, but it's just like there's always this thing in the back of my mind, like I'm failing. It's anxiety. There's just nothing to do for it.
Well, I'll okay. Gen X OG says, "What's up, gentlemen? Sorry I'm late. Yeah, you're forgiven." He also says, "Terry, brother, we all fight with that. You are not alone." That's a Michael Jackson song.
I appreciate that, man. Sometimes it really does feel like you're alone whenever you.
Gen X OG, can you do the Michael Jackson? You are not alone. I don't know the rest of it. I just know that part. Been on a big Michael Jackson kick here lately. Well, Terry, I said this to you before. I've told David this. I've told other people this. So sorry if I'm repeating myself, Dad. If you're watching this, this is a homage to you. When I was going to buy my store, when I was also going to produce my comic book, which became a graphic novel, my dad said when I achieved those two things, and it was funny because somebody at another store said I was an asshole. One of my customers, shout out to Adam Spangler for showing me the Reddit thread that was talking about where you get your toys and comics.
You mentioned that.
Apparently I choose who gets Ultimate Spider-Man and who doesn't. Which, newsflash, they don't even make it right now. So
I've been called an asshole by enough people that my response to that is, I'm okay with that. You should be too.
Well, this is coming from people that have the same undershirt on with the same mustard stain for the last, 20 years, 30 years. You don't. I'm an asshole because I say hi to people and I give them books. Right. My own books I give to them. But anyway, it was just kind of funny. But anyway, my dad told me when I bought the store, when I got the comic book, started producing it, my dad told me, he said, "Son, you're doing what 99% of the world doesn't do. Get their ass off the couch and make something happen."
Exactly.
And he said that the fact that you did this, that you had the balls to do this, just like Stallone, I play Rocky. The fact that someone like Sylvester Stallone, who talked like this with rocks in his mouth and all that, he wrote a script, stuck with his guns, and became a freaking icon.
Yeah.
Because he had the balls to do it. And it was the same thing that I told David with his convention. It's the same thing I told a friend of mine named Kalen Fultz, who's written one or two comics and working on another one. And I'm super proud of you if you're watching this. It's the same thing I tell everybody that wants to listen. You're doing what most of the world doesn't do. They talk. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. And they do any of it.
Trying means more than not doing anything at all.
And my dad said you had the balls to do it. Whether people buy it, come in your store, whatever, that's immaterial. You did something. You set your mind to doing something. You did it. So that's the way I look at what you're doing and a lot of the other folks are doing. Man,
I'm working with a really great team of people to make this happen. I don't have
except for the writer. The writer's a little sus, but
I don't have the skills necessary to do the sculpting. I've got
Man, I wish I
bottom
could do that stuff.
toys. He is sculpting the figures, and he's sculpting them off of artwork that I provide and taking input as I see fit for what I think needs to be changed. One of the things that I thought needed to be changed about the sculpt of the figures was the addition. And again, I didn't want to have a bunch of stuff sculpted onto the figures, but the backpack straps that you see there, it makes a good harness for the figure. That's the back. It makes a good harness so that you can put a multitude of different backpacks on and they won't look weird like they don't have straps. I saw
No, I
so
like
many
that idea, man. I really do.
not having backpack straps or something. Like somebody was like, I think it might have been Bazooka. I saw a lot of complaints about
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
lack
How
of
does that
backpack
stay on his
straps.
back?
Yeah. And that
Well,
was
I always
something.
figured it was chewing gum. When he wasn't swallowing his chewing gum in the cartoon, he just had
Yeah.
it on the back of that jersey.
So that's one of the things that I wanted to avoid was having these look weird with an accessory that didn't fit.
No, I'm excited for it, man. Not because I'm involved in it. I mean, to those that don't know, I wrote the comic book aspect of it. Terry invited me to be a part of that, and I really appreciate that and very grateful. It's also nice to get paid for doing work, So, which Terry did, paid me very handsomely, I might add.
Well, hopefully
Um,
we'll be doing I've got 5 more stories worth of
I
material to
might
hand
skip that
to
second one.
Christy.
That second one I might skip because there's a big giant freaking spider. Well, so today so best $52 I ever spent was buying an inflatable pool at Meyer. So
Yeah.
my son and I have been in this pool like every damn day, right? And so we're in it today. It's a beautiful day, and I start to get out to do something, and there's like a little spider in my shoe, and I'm freaking out because I don't do spiders. Like that's one complaint I have with God. I'm like, God, why'd you do spiders? Like what's up with that? And and the thing starts hopping around, and I'm like, oh shit, I can't kill this thing. And I'm like trying to kill it, and it might, I don't know, it might come back and kill me tonight. So if you guys don't see me this weekend, you know what happened. And then my wife gets home, and because we had a wasp land on this big giant stuffy alligator that floats in the pool. And so I was like, yeah, we had a rough go of it, Mom. We had a wasp and then a spider. She had a spider? Where was it at? And I was like, well, it was in my shoe. It was hopping around. She goes, oh, was it one of those cute hopping spiders? Those things are cute. And I'm like, are you crazy? Have you lost your mind? There's no spider that's cute. Like, what are you doing? And then there's Terry. Like, oh, wait till book 2, man. The Widow's Lair. You're gonna love it. And I'm like, please tell me the Widow's Lair is some old cougar that like ropes in young guys and kills them. Please tell me what that is, because that might be what I write for you. There's not going to be any big spiders, but anyway, no. I'm excited for all this stuff, man. Tron XX23. That's my middle name. Doesn't hurt my feelings at all anymore. Laughing out loud. In what regards was that your middle name? Was it the Michael Jackson stuff? If anybody can give me the lyrics to "You Are Not Alone," I'd appreciate that too. Um, for if we did super chats on here, I would sing the Michael Jackson song, um, which you probably wouldn't want that. We'd probably be banned from YouTube. But so Templars, Mask of Mordred. So what's Mask of Mordred about?
So the Mask of Mordred is about the Mask of Mordred. It's an Arthurian themed story and takes place largely in Tintagel ruins. If you notice I think,
Can you
and I'm not
explain what
sure if
that
you're,
is for people that don't know?
so Tintagel is where Arthur died. And that was he was taken to I think he was taken to Tintagel after, or was he born in Tintagel? Dude, I've been reading so
Sorry,
much
Tron
Arthurian
XX23
stuff.
said, laughing out loud, asshole. Yeah, are
So
you the guy on
I've
the
been
Reddit
reading so much
file,
of
the
this
Reddit
stuff,
thing that
man.
called me an a-hole? Uh,
Finding pictures of Camlin so that we could get that right. because one of the places they go is to Camlin, which is where the battle took place that mortally wounded Arthur. And then the end of the story takes place mostly in Tintagel ruins. But the Mask of Mordred is based on the helm worn by Mordred in the Excalibur movie, and we kind of made it an enchanted artifact that the Templars are looking for, the cult is looking for, because the collector, the helm is a key, and he wants to use that key to do something really crazy. So
Well, that mask looks freaking cool anyway.
the mask
Yeah.
is being sculpted right now,
Oh,
and it will fit multiple figures.
I want one of those.
And if I can
I
make
know
it
Tron
work,
XX23. I was just joking.
if I can make it work, I'm going to 3D print a full size mask to wear.
You should wear, you should wear that on Toy Talk. And you should wear that at the January show. That would be great.
That is the plan. So some of the things with the sculpting are slow going right now, but we have everything pretty well nailed down as to exactly what's going to go where, and all 6 of the figures. I'd like to ask that everybody watching, if you have an interest in O-ring figures and you want to see this project come to life, go to backerkit.com. Instead of using Kickstarter and then using BackerKit for the fulfillment, BackerKit offers their own crowdfunding service, and that's what I chose to go with, was BackerKit's crowdfunding service. The all-in package gets you all 6 packaged figures. It gets you 2 troop builder packs of 3 figures each, bagged, because these are in collector-friendly packaging and can be removed and put back into the packaging for display. Plus, if you're an all-in backer, you automatically get the 7th figure, Professor Roman Cruz Quetzal, as part of your all-in backing. And he's also available separately. This figure will be an exclusive paint scheme to the Backer Kit campaign, in an homage to the Once a Man Cobra Commander.
Terry, real quick, can you show us the card art and what the figures look like?
Yeah, absolutely.
Before we get, I know we're coming up on the hour mark.
But so the card art,
Terry can only do an hour, or he turns into a pumpkin, and it happened once before, and it's really gross.
So the other cards that I have printed out are actually in a box right now. So I have these 2 to show. I have Kane, and I have Elias Graves. Elias Graves being issue number 1. You open it up, you have the 2 pages for the comic. And on the back, you have the character dossier. The dossier file is told from a third-party perspective, like they're like a government agency observing what the Templars group and the Order of Shadows is doing. But
I love that idea. I have some ideas in my head about who and what and why all that is.
I've actually got one as well to run by you and see what you think. But this is what the packaging looks like. You'll have the figure, the accessories, extra hands, and everything will be in a vac-formed bubble tray. This is a mock-up. I'm using Strike Force Alpha's packaging for this mock-up. This is not the final product. This is just how it'll work. This outer shell is a final product. The insert is a final product, but the insert pulls out like this so that you can remove the figure tray, remove all of the parts, do whatever you want with them, and put them back in. And the packaging has a hang tab for hanging it up for display.
I love the idea that I think it was Eagle Force started that.
Maybe. I'm not sure who started it. I know
that's from my perspective, or from my point of, or my entry into it. It was Eagle Force. It might have been others, but I love that idea because some of that card art is so gorgeous,
right?
And I hate to like cut out. I mean, I cut out the file cards. I just do, And I sometimes hate to do that because you're tearing up the art, or you got to rip it open and
And
there's a
that's
big.
why we wanted to make the dossier the entire back of the card and make the packaging integrated into part of the figure with the story aspect inside.
I think that's pretty cool. And it gives you a vested interest in buying all the characters to finish the story. And the characters are pretty awesome. So you have Elias Graves, you have Ivy Graves, you have
Elias' daughter,
Kane.
yes, and Kane is kind of
Kane's
like
kind of the muscle, the heavy for Elias.
Kane
And then,
is a weapon that you point in a direction and let him loose.
now I got to talk about it because we talk about it every time. Is the damn grounder. The
Yes.
the grounder was based off of something I played with as a kid, and it's Kane's personal ride. So when they go on missions, he takes this thing, and it's straight up like 1977, 1978's finest technology. It's like a
Retrofitted with new tech.
six wheeled abomination that he drives around that Ivy Graves bitches about the entire time, and it's almost like a character in the book.
Well,
To the point where I talked to Terry about blowing it up, and it would be like the death of a character.
the thing about the grounder is that for anybody who's into Jeeps, it's kind of like a Jeep in the aspect of like Kane is always working on it and acts like he hates it and acts like it's a piece of junk, but he loves it. And
And
he'll
there's a
never,
reason for that we won't get into just yet.
yeah, because you'll see
Which
the
if
ground.
it which if it does get blown up, you'll see Kane go on a killing spree of bad guys.
Well, you're going to see the grounder in a flashback story for the third wave if we get that far.
And the grounder in that flashback, I believe, will be like state of the art,
That
brand new, rolling like a rolling thunder thing of beauty.
that,
Not
that
the piece of junk it
flashback
is now.
also has some very emotionally gripping moments. So that's something that I look forward to, is to help build that connection to the characters. So
S Murphy 965. Sorry to hear about your loss. I appreciate that. Thank you for saying that. I wasn't sure if I was going to mention it tonight, but I love and respect my aunt, and I want to give her props. Thank you guys for all the condolences. No, Terry, I'm excited for these. I wish we could pop up the other card arts. I think the collector looks phenomenal. He looks like somebody that like Cobra Commander would hire or work with, and then just kind of have a falling out.
well, if you go to backerkit.com and search for Templars, the Mask of Mordred, it will pop right up. You go into that one and it will show you all of the add-ons, the characters, the pledge levels. Go to the updates section and look at the updates and check out some of the photos. You can also check out the Templars Facebook page. And
Terry's always posting updates, folks.
I post from that page I try to post every single day.
Yeah, Terry. I have to say, I'm very, very proud of you. I'm excited for this project, not because I'm involved in it, but just I think it's cool. I think it's very worthy of people to back. Like again, Michael French from Retro Blasting, the fans do the best work. If you want to see it, make it happen, and you're one of the few doing that.
So
And
Templars Action Figures and Comics is the Facebook page to go to. But go to BackerKit, back this project if you support O-Ring figures and you like customizability. Again, it's the all-in package is 7 packaged figures and 2 packages of 3 bagged figures, $240, and you can do the pay-as-you-go plan. You don't get hit with all of it at once, and the campaign has 29 days left.
yeah, and not even if you're a fan of O-ring figures, if you're just a fan of action figures, if you're just a fan of cool concepts, and you're a fan of seeing people go at it on their own and succeed, this is the campaign for you. Terry, you got a few more minutes, or do you need to roll?
I am gonna have to roll, man.
Well, thank you, sir, for coming
Unfortunately.
on. Appreciate you talking about your campaign. Everybody, go to where he said. I will be sending out a mass email about Templars this weekend, and I will be posting it on my socials as well. And it's got 29 days to go. It's about a quarter of the way funded, which is phenomenal. So let's make it happen for Terry and for Templars. And
I
because
I
Daddy would like to have some more work too, by the
I
way.
very much want to see this get to and break the $100,000 mark so that we can make all 7 of these figures come to life and get that backer kit exclusive out there. That's that one is kind of special to me because um it the story that I wrote for him, like it's already written, it's 2 pages written, scripted. Zoo is super excited about it. I've told a few other people about it, and they got really excited when they heard the story. So there's a couple things that I've added into this just for a panel or two. I'm big into watching and listening to like conspiracy podcasts, and the Knights Templar is like the epitome of conspiracy podcast subject.
They're all over that.
And
They're all over that bitch, man.
there's
They're
a
all over it.
I'll go ahead and tell you guys, like, this last panel, it just has Kane and Ivy riding in the grounder, and you see this this bubble come from the radio in the grounder, and it just says lizard people. And Ivy asks Kane, what the hell are you listening to? And Kane just kind of laughs and says, this guy has a lot of really good information. He might not always know exactly what he's talking about, but he's right a lot of the time.
You should say they're listening to DanCast.
So it's actually it's from one of my favorite podcasts to listen to. So
That's awesome, man.
it's a little cameo blurb to check them out. So
That's pretty awesome.
but yeah, once again, backerkit.com. Templars, the Mask of Mordred is the name of the project. That's what you'll search for on the Backer Kit site. It'll bring it right up. Dan, I've actually dropped a link to the Backer Kit in the private chat. If you can copy and paste that and post it into the comments or into the description for the video, people will be able to follow it there as well.
Well, thanks, Terry, for coming on. And I'll see you, I guess, on Sunday.
Thanks for having me, man. Yeah, I've got our stream at 2 on Sunday. Excuse me. I've got our stream at 2 on Sunday, and then I've got another stream at 3. So
awesome, man. Happy to have you on. I'll see you Sunday, buddy.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yep. So as I said earlier, I'm going to talk a little bit about G.I. Joe Toy Expo that was last weekend. So I had a blast. Those that don't know, this was the 13th annual G.I. Joe Toy Expo. It's G.I. Joe centric. It focuses a lot on the 12-inch figures, but of course the 3 3/4 figures that we love are featured as well. Now, it's funny because I think it was going on for about 4 or 5 years before I even knew about it, and I felt like a total idiot for not knowing about it. And I've been going ever since. And I go and we go. They do it twice a year now. They do it in January and they do it in July. And I go to both shows. I spend a ridiculous amount of money for stuff I don't probably need. And, that's what we do. So this particular show, I walk in, I get my ticket. I look over to the right, and Marauder Gunrunners has their booth set up. And I get this. This is the 3-pack, the LARP 3-pack of Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, and Stalker when they were in Vietnam in the Long Range Recon Patrol. And I don't have them put together, but here's pieces and parts. This will be my weekend. I also got John Rambo from Rambo 2. And I keep wanting to do the girl's voice. You're not expendable, Rambo. You're not expendable. He's pretty badass, man. Or folks, he's pretty badass. Looks just like John Rambo. That's what I love about Marauder Gun Runners. They make some really great stuff. When I was doing the GI Joe pitch back in the day, I actually used Marauder Gun Runners and made a figure of my son that was going to be a unique character named Bulldog. And speaking of Bulldog, this is John Wayne from the Green Berets. One of my favorite movies, The Green Berets. Played Colonel Kirby, codename Bulldog. And got all these, and I got some of the uh, Red Shadow Troopers from Marauders. I think I got like 2 of those. They're on the shelf over there, which we're not going to go over there right now. And they were pretty cool. Let's see. Charles Jones, 3535. I'm kicking myself for not picking up that Marauders set up last week. Brother, I'm telling you, you should have got that. I haven't opened mine up yet. Don't try to talk me out of it. I'm not going to sell it to you. But I asked them, we did a special DanCast that was / Toy Talk. And one of my Toy Talk co-hosts, David T. Allen, was at Joe Fest. And he was taking me around with a camera. And I spoke to Marauders. And I asked them, I said, hey, you guys coming to Kentuckiana with us? And they said no. And then about a week before the show, they said they were coming with it. And I was like, crap. And so the funny thing is, I don't know why, but I thought the set was like $45 and it was like 115. And I was like, oh, damn. It's like, well, we got to commit to the bid here. So like I walked in, got a ticket, go over here, and I've automatically spent $200. And I was going to film. I think I said something last week, like no Dan casts, that maybe we're going to do something special. And I was going to like film and talk, go up and talk to people and all that. And I was like, I can't do that. I got to pay attention to the stuff going on in here because I'm spending way too much money that quick. But it was a fun show. I picked that up. I picked up an original Baron Karza it from a table from Micronauts. I picked up some Joes for my son. My son had a list of like 13 Joes, and I think we got about 5 of them for him. Picked up, what else did I get? Right before the show, my son and I found these at Target out in the wild, the G.I. Joe Ninja Turtles. And I got quite a few of these. These honestly are constructed a lot different than your typical Playmates Turtles. Not going to get into the whys and the wheres of that. But it was one of those things like, I'm just going to get a couple of them. Now I got to get all of them because they're pretty cool. And they're pretty unique. And it's sad that Playmates is losing the license to Turtles. Good for Mattel getting that license. It's going to be that DC, He-Man, Hot Wheels, Barbie. I think they're going to surpass Hasbro in some ways, and especially with Turtles. But it's kind of sad to see Playmates lose that because they've had it, I mean, what, since 1987, 1988? A pretty long time ago. Charles Jones 3535, it was 125 at Joe Fest. Yes, it was. They marked it down to 115. My dumbass thought it said 45. I was going to get it anyway, so it didn't matter because I love that. And it's up above me is the sketch that Larry Hama did of the 3 of them in their LARP outfits from Vietnam. So the show was a lot of fun. Didn't pick up any classified because I'm good on all that. For those that don't know, my shop was one of the first shops, Zone Comics and Toys, to get G.I. Joe classified. We were called about it first out of all the retailers. And we probably sold more classified at my shop than all the Targets and Walmarts in my city combined. Most of them to Charles Jones 3535, I might add. Gen X OG, I'd be excited to see what Mattel does with the Turtles, though. Yeah, me too. I've seen their DC Kids offering, which is what everybody was griping about. It's not the collector figures, it's the kids offering. And I think for kids, they look amazing. That's the one thing I'll harp about forever until it's rectified. I talk about it on Toy Talk all the time, and I talk about it in person in my store. And I've mentioned it a few times on here that the toy companies, well, Playmates not so much. Playmates did it right with Turtles, but like companies like Hasbro have stopped selling stuff to kids. It's all adults. And I feel very blessed to live in a country like America, which we have a great country, despite what some people say. It's not perfect, but show me one that is. But we live in a country where adult men and women can collect and read comic books and toys. I think that's phenomenal. But I would also like to live in a country where little kids can collect toys and comics, and they're made for them. Charles 3535, the plastic dealer. Yeah, I've been called a crack dealer with the toys and stuff. Kind of feel like Scarface a little bit. I get a big plate of like plastic toys and comics that I sniff every day on my desk. Um, but I would like to see toys made for kids, and I think Mattel, other than Playmates and Jazzwares, Mattel's trying to do that. But they do it with Hot Wheels. They're doing it with the new DC Comics line, and they're doing. I think they'll do it with Turtles. They did it with He-Man. Oh, sorry. Long day. Bobby Valla, who I've been quoting a lot lately, or talking about, he did a video about the He-Man figures, and the ones that were geared towards kids were pretty solid. They were like a 10.99, 11.99, and it's like you got to do it, man. You got to make toys affordable for kids, and you got to market to kids because one day we're all going to be gone, and then these companies are going to be screwed. They can, you know, do what they're going to do, but without generational customers, and see that's the thing. Like at my store, we have generational customers, and that should be the goal of any company: is to have generational customers. The dad, the son, and now the son's son are your customers, and I've had that at my store. And I feel like with brands like GI Joe, He Man, Transformers, Mask, to an extent, it didn't really get the run that those previous ones did. Turtles, Barbie for girls, Hot Wheels, that stuff that the parent to the child to now that child's child can share in that experience. That's generational customers. So if I were a CEO at Mattel, who I do like their CEO, or if I was a CEO of Hasbro, that would be my goal, is to have generational customers because you want this. This stuff is so cool. I had somebody tell me one time when I first bought my store, you are the gatekeeper of just really cool things, and it's your job to pass it on to the next generation. Because I mean, Superman, Batman, Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, the Avengers, Justice League, Transformers, GI Joe. I mean, all of it. Hellboy. It's cool stuff, man. It's American mythology, and we as fans have a duty to pass it on to other fans, whether they be adults or kids. And same thing with the toy companies. It's great that we live in a country where we can, as adults, can collect toys and collectibles and all that stuff. But we need to be able to pass it on to the kids. So when they grow up, they can pass it to their kids. And you can have different levels of that. But that's a show for another day. So G.I. Joe Toy Expo was really nice. Got to talk to a lot of friends, see a lot of friends, talk to different dealers. My best friend and his son hate walking around with me because I get stuck in booth 3, aisle 1, talking to people, and they're in like booth or aisle 3. They're like, you're like a freaking politician. I just don't kiss the babies or whatever. I shake a lot of hands and talk to a lot of people. And it's fun, and one of the neat things this year was there's a guy I see every show, comes to my store every now and then. His kids were all in strollers. Now all three of his sons are walking with him, and they're at this show. And I've seen them grow for years. And it's just like, man, that's so freaking cool. Talking about generational customers, generational love of a hobby. And that's pretty fun. Charles Jones 3535. G.I. Joe needs to offer an affordable figure line for kids, kind of like what they offered for Snake Eyes movie that were $11 to $12 and had decent articulation. Kevin Robinson Jr. 440. I just got here late. Well, shame on you, and do not ask me if I got Soundwave. I've got stuff coming in maybe tomorrow. I don't know if Soundwave's part of that. What's up, Kevin? Kevin, real quick, since you're late, I'm going to put you on the spot. Your top 3 MCs. Hit it. Um, So the G.I. Joe Toy Expo, it's in July. It's also in January. Don't want to rush the year, but I'm looking forward to the next show. January's a little bit more intimate show. It's only one room. This one was 3 big rooms, and it's this close to being a big national show. Just a few guests, few panels, and you're there. And some other toy dealers, like toy company dealers, like a Valaverse, Eagle Force, Big Bad Toy Store, their toy division, that sort of thing. But the show was fun. Got to hang out with some friends. It's always nice. Get to spend a stupid amount of money, um, and just buy stuff, that is reminiscent of our great childhoods from the 80s or 70s or 90s for some folks. Um, and G.I. Joe, I hate to use that word community because there's some people out there. One just made a really weird birthday post. I'm not going to say who she is, but if you know me, I don't really particularly care for this person because I don't think like when you say community, there's people that think they're like a hierarchy of that community, and no, you're not. Everyone's the same. Um, but there's a camaraderie, like especially with GI Joe fans, and it's just neat to see that. You see a father and his son, you see a father and his 3 boys, and now they're all walking. You see your buddy you see every week, other friends you see every week, you see people you see every couple months. Excuse me, you see some of the dealers. It's just really, really freaking fun. And it's just a fun hobby. And I hope it continues forever. My son, he calls the classified line the big inch Joes. Makes me laugh. And he loves the 4 inch. He loves the 3 3/4. That's all he plays with. If he's not on Nintendo building Minecraft worlds, kid's going to be a freaking programmer, I think. A jiu-jitsu martial artist and a Minecraft programmer. But he plays with his Joes. It's always a zombie invasion. And I taught him a lesson that Playmobil houses and bases work well with G.I. Joe. So there it is. Carl Wilson Art. Great news. Kevin Robinson. Oh, Kevin, where's my MC list? Come on. I can give you mine. Where are you at? Um, in fact, one of my favorite groups, Third Base, is supposedly coming out with a new album. They got the rights to their music back. I know this is way off topic, but I'm a big MC Search Pete Nice fan. Love Third Base. I kind of wanted to be Pete Nice when I was in high school. The cane and the cigar, but they wouldn't let me smoke a cigar in high school. But that would have been something. Um, okay, Kevin Robinson, Nas, Redman, MC, 8 of Compton's Most Wanted. All right, I respect that. I'd say mine, without a doubt, is the Blastmaster, the teacher, KRS-One. Knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everyone. That's his name. KRS-One is number 1 for me. And then in no particular order, Big Daddy Kane, probably Eric Rakim. I mean, how you not pick Rakim? Oh, man. I just have to say because of longevity. LL Cool J. Guru from Gangstar was awesome. God rest his soul. The DOC. So, to those that don't know, I'm a big old school hip hop fan, and I'm also a wrestling fan. And in wrestling, there was a character named Magnum TA. He was in the NWA, which was eventually become WCW. It was the counter programming to WWF at the time. They had a guy named Magnum TA that kind of had the mustache like Magnum PI, the blonde hair, well, mullet, if you will, which apparently they're on the comeback. Kevin, I don't want to see you grow a mullet, buddy. Please don't. Um, and oh, excuse me. Magnum TA was in a horrible car wreck, and it cut his career short. He was lucky to be able to walk. He's still around today. And the DOC would have one of the best albums of all time. Very little profanity in it until like the last song, which is actually called the last song, if I remember correctly. It might have been called something else. The last song. Uh, he was like the best MC lyricist. He called rap rhythmic American poetry. In my mind, that's what it is. And he was in a car wreck. It messed up his voice. They did an album, I think it was called Helter Skelter, and it just doesn't sound the same. But in every Dr. Dre album, he always gives him props. And DOC is a hell of a writer. I think he wrote a lot of Eminem stuff. He wrote some of Dre stuff. Just really good talent. But he's like the Magnum. Here's a little trivia thing. He's like the Magnum TA, as Magnum TA to wrestling is what DOC was to hip hop. Charles Jones, 3535. I'm thinking about bringing my 80s mullet back. Chuck, please do. I think that would look phenomenal. I'm sure your wife will love it. Jeremy Span will love it. I'll love it. Bring it back. Some people can pull that stuff off, man. Kurt Russell, Patrick Swayze. I mean, the mullet, dude, that's them. Jean-Claude Van Damme, not so much. That was he had that one movie where he had the mullet. Yeah, don't do that again. Kevin Robinson, you didn't say the super vets. All of those guys are legendary. Well, duh. I wasn't even done with my list and I interrupted myself. If I'd let myself talk, I wouldn't be interrupted. Kevin Robinson also says DOC, the greatest what if of all time. Absolutely 100 and a million %. DOC was phenomenal. Everybody's probably like, I thought he was talking about a G.I. Joe in San Diego and he's talking about rap. Well, deal with it. Charles Jones, 3535. Got to get my 79 Z28 back first. Man, you know what? So my son goes to this elite school, and the people there, it's not all, but some of the people there are a little pretentious, and they drive their fancy cars. And here I roll up on my Nissan Rogue. They're probably, oh, this is the maintenance guy. No, I'm just dropping my kid off. Thank you very much. But I think about like getting a fancy car, which I could. I could go get one right now if I wanted to. But I don't want to put my money in a car or to put it in the stock market or real estate. Which if you ever want advice on that, hit me up. But man, I'm thinking about older cars. Like I just found a Nissan Datsun Hot Wheel, and I was like, holy smokes, I would like to have one of those. Just I would drive that thing in there like it was 1970s, early 80s, like nobody's business. Anybody even grow a mullet? No, I don't think so. No, Chuck, I'm not going to grow a mullet. So yeah, the GI Joe Toy Expo was excellent. If you've not been and you can go, go in January, go in July. Steve Stovall is the guy is the showrunner. He runs a really awesome show. It's very family friendly. There's all types of cool people there. And there's guys like Rocco, just teasing Rocco. We love you. We'll see you soon. Before I forget, I want to do a little advertisement here. See Charles Jones, 3535, the late 70s 280ZX is fire. Yes, sir, it is. And Chuck, good thing we did what we did last week because you got Joe's coming in probably tomorrow. Lots of Joe's, lots of Transformers. Kevin, don't ask me. Do not ask me, Kevin. Kevin, I'm telling you right now, man to man, look in my eyes. If you can see him through my Tony Starks, do not ask me about freaking Soundwave. But I'll know tomorrow when I go in if we have him or not. Charles Jones, sir, you could pull off the mullet, maybe like Bono. I will punch you in the face. Don't ever compare me to Bono. I can't stand that guy. When there was Celebrity Death Fight or whatever that was on MTV, I wanted my celebrity fight to be Bono. I wanted to beat his. I would beat his ass right now. Freaking. Yeah, don't get me started on Bono. Running around telling people they've been bono-sized or whatever he said. Freaking weirdo. Hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. But anyway, look at Chuck laughing at me. Gen X OG. Dan has the perfect frame for a mullet for real. Oh my God, you guys are killing me. You're all banned from the shop. Still going to charge your card, but you're banned from the shop. But you can be on here on DanCast. I love you guys. I love everybody watching. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Little advertisement for August, though. Anybody still into original Transformers by Carl Wilson art? Yes, we all are, buddy. You got to read the Energon books. In August will be the anniversary of the 86 Transformers movie. And to celebrate, every week in August, probably on Fridays, maybe on Saturdays, I'll let you guys know, We're going to have one weekend where we have a panel discussion, myself and 3 others talking about G.I. Joe, one weekend Transformers, Ninja Turtles, and Star Wars. And I've got some really cool people lined up for it. And Charles Jones, oh my God, Sunday Bloody Sunday. I'm going to Bloody Sunday you next time I get a hold of your card and ring you up, which is next week, buddy. So you better watch out. Uh, we're going to, sorry, I'm cracking myself up. Every week in August, we're going to do a group uh, live stream talking about stuff, those topics. So I'm going to pick 3 people and we're going to talk about G.I. Joe. We're going to try to get as close as we can to the Transformer movie anniversary. Now everybody's laughing at me in chat. Thanks. I'm glad I amused you guys. What am I, a freaking clown? I'm just a funny guy. But we're going to do these different shows, and we're going to cover a bunch of those 4 topics: G.I. Joe, Transformers, Star Wars, and Ninja Turtles. Because those are kind of the, well, other than He-Man, but I felt we kind of did He-Man back in June. We're going to talk about those, like what are they, what they meant to us, what's cool about it, and why it has staying power. And we're going to kind of have, especially with Star Wars, we're going to have like the old guys and kind of like the new generation. So we get a different perspective on things. And you know what I mean when we get to that. But that's what we have planned for August, which will be a heck of a lot of fun. Because you know me, I love talking about those subjects. So enough about G.I. Joe Toy Expo. Right now, today, yesterday, tomorrow, and Sunday is San Diego Comic-Con. If you've never been, I recommend it. I went back in 2013. It was a phenomenal experience, and I've got some fun stories from that. So one of my customers and a good friend, Peter Houlihan, who your ass better be watching. You gave me a little heart sign or whatever when I sent you the link. He came to me and said, "Hey, is it true that you're a retailer?" He always called me a realtor, which I was a realtor. If you watch the episode with my cousin, who's one of the top real estate agents in the city, Sarah McNally, then I am a realtor. He would always call me a realtor instead of retailer. He said, "You're a realtor. Don't you get free tickets to Comic Con?" And I said, "Well, yes, I do." And he goes, "If you will invoke those free tickets, I will pay for the flight to San Diego and the hotel stay." And I was like, "You're on." And that was a fun year because that year I went to JoeCon in Indianapolis. I went to San Diego Comic Con, and I went to Wizard World Chicago. That was the last Wizard World Chicago I went to. And I think we might have had a local con here. I don't remember. Or I might have sent my people to work that. I didn't want to do it. I was conned out, if you know what I mean. And so I said, "Yeah, we'll do it." So we went to San Diego Comic Con, and it was a blast. It was perpetually 71 degrees the entire time. There was one night that DC Comics took us out to eat, took me and a couple other retailers out to eat. And Peter is ordering very conservatively. And I'm like, "Peter, they had this really good, went to this place that had this really good shrimp. It was like in a little carton, like almost like a Chinese takeout, the way they had it set up." And I was like, "Peter, order more. DC Comics is paying for it. Warner Brothers is paying for dinner, man. Get what you want." I'm like, "We'll take 5 more beers and more of those shrimp." Because the beer there in San Diego is all protein. That's what I'm told. But the weather was gorgeous. And man, we went there and it was amazing. And it's Comic Con is like everything you think it is, and everything it's not what you think it is. And it's the same experience no matter what year it is. I would love to go again. I wish I was there this year because there's a lot of cool stuff they're showing. They're showing Battlestar Galactica figures where somebody can tell me what, if they're 4-inch or 6-inch, I'd appreciate it. Just feel like I'm going to spend a lot of money on those. There's some replica Enterprise bridge that looks amazing. The G.I. Joe stuff looks amazing. That's what I've seen so far. I haven't looked tonight and tomorrow. Everything's there's an Indiana Jones comic book coming out, which like about time. You've only been owned by Disney, Marvel for I don't know how many years. Let's get it going. Love the Indiana Jones comic from the 80s. Love they're going to do one now. This isn't Comic Con news, but it's prior to that. Marvel fired CB Cebulski. He's no longer editor in chief. They got a new guy that is getting universal praise from people. And Marvel is actually leaving New York City and going to LA. And I don't know if that's the current environment in New York is prompting this, or just the synergy of being there in Hollywood adjacent with Disney, like DC did with Warner, uh, which is kind of, I guess, paying off for him now. You get that synergy where it's kind of like you're right there. That, I mean, there's things called cell phones and email and all that. But anyway, I digress. So that's big news. But that broke prior to San Diego, and I'm sure as of right now and as of the end of business tomorrow, we'll see a whole lot of stuff. So when I went, the big get for me was the GI Joe Transformers Sky Striker that was done up like Jetfire. Jetfire is one of my favorite Transformers. I have a sentimental connection to him, which I'll tell about in one of my 8 to 10 minute videos. Which this one definitely isn't, folks, because we're an hour 36 minutes, and I appreciate you sticking with me. Especially that I'm just talking to you all and not to somebody else like normal. Um, Not my friend normal, but normal. Um, that was my big get. I had to get that. I had to get that. Had to get it. And I made the mistake of telling people in my store I was going to San Diego. Which, if you go to San Diego Comic Con, don't tell anybody. I mean, tell your spouse or your girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever the case may be, because you don't want to get, like, oh my God, why is the credit card bill maxed out? You don't want to get divorced or broken up. But don't tell people because they will give you a list of stuff to get for them. And I think the only two things I got for myself that year, out of all the stuff I bought, was the Jetfire Sky Striker and the Ninja Turtle Playmate Shredder that had chrome armor. And he was pretty cool. And so I go to the Hasbro booth. It's day one. It's Thursday. We get there. The show, we're about 9 miles out from the hotel, or from the hotel to the convention center. We get there. I'm like, holy smokes, Peter, we're actually here. This is amazing. Peter, I hope you're watching this, or you better come in the store tomorrow so I can talking about you and me at the show. Peter says he saved my life at the show. That's a whole story I'll get into in a second. So we go in there and we somehow get separated. I see the Hasbro booth, and it's like got all these Marvel Legends, Transformers. There might have still been some GI Joe coming out then that they had on display. This is 2013, and it's like, holy smokes, man! I'm taking pictures. I'm going to post all this on Facebook, to communicate to my store and to friends and all that. And I'm like, man, this is cool. Show's been open for 45 minutes. I go up to this young lady and said, hey, where do we go to get the exclusives? Because the two big exclusives of Hasbro that year was Jetfire, and there was the Star Wars Black Series Boba Fett with the Han and Carbonite, which some of you may remember. And she goes, oh, the exclusive booth is right over there. But they're already closed. I'm like, well, that can't be right. The show's only been open for 45 minutes. So I'm looking at my Dallas Cowboys watch to see what time it is. I'm like, that can't be right. Oh no, they're already closed. So I go over there, the damn thing's closed. And they got some guy working the thing, and I'm like, hey man, how do you get a ticket to get in here? I just want to buy some stuff. I've got money, and I've got to get some stuff for people back home. Well, we randomly give out tickets throughout the city of San Diego. So you got to get up at like 4 a.m. and we just kind of pop up in random places. And I'm like, say what? Like, are you serious? Like, okay. Not going to do that. And I'm like, damn, I'm all upset. I'm calling my wife. I'm like, man, I don't know how I'm going to get this stuff. That's the whole reason I wanted to get that damn Sky Striker that looked like Jetfire. Charles 3535, probably some of the Retaliation line, maybe the TRU 50th anniversary packs. I think, I know it was kind of on the decline because they killed the Pursuit of Cobra and the no, wait a minute, Retaliation's coming out. So no, yeah, I guess there was Retaliation figures. Now that I think about it, yeah, there was. They had all those guys on display. So the I'm like, man, what am I going to do? I can't get this stuff. So I walk around the con, and then it's amazing. There's like stuff everywhere. There's video game stuff, movie stuff, TV stuff, toys. Very little comics though, unfortunately. And I find the booth where I can get the exclusive shredder. I'm like, well, at least I got something, right? So I'm kind of dejected. And I think we go out to dinner that night, or it might have been Friday night. And I'm telling Peter, order what you want, man. Warner Brothers is paying for this. Bugs Bunny has got our tab, man. Get what you want. So it was a lot of Coronas or Dos Equis, and a lot of that shrimp that was really, really good. And where we were at in this restaurant, across the bay, was where the Navy SEALs train. And the legend was that in times past, the SEALs would be underwater and pop up and land in front of the restaurant and just walk up to the restaurant. Not that that would freak anybody out. But they didn't do that when we were there. I was kind of hoping for it. So Friday, I'm like, okay, what would J.R. Ewing do to get one of these Hasbro exclusives? So I pull a couple of 20s out of my wallet and I have them in my pocket. And I walk up to the guy at the booth at Hasbro. And I got the 20s in my hand like this, and I put my hand down, about to slide him over to him. I'm going to buy this guy off. And I was like, hey, man, what do I need to do to get a ticket to get in here and to buy stuff? Which is ridiculous in saying that. You got to get a ticket to come spend a ridiculous amount of money. You just ought to be like, come one, come all, right? And he goes, oh, they're giving out tickets over there on the side of the booth. And man, I put that $40 back in my pocket. Thanks. And I walked around. And so there was this big, tall black guy and this short, stout white guy. He might have been a dwarf. I'm not sure. One of the really broad, bigger dwarfs, probably like from The Hobbit. And they had everybody going in a circle, acting like they were a train. And I was like, what the hell is going on here? So I get in this line, and the dwarf guy's like, where's my choo-choo train? And grown men are going, woo, woo. And I was like, oh my God, this cannot be real. So we're going around in a circle, and they have these, I don't have a prop to use. They have these like little, almost like a postcard, your ticket. And they would act like they're going to give it to a guy and give it to the person, like the woman behind them. It was really weird. Like it was a power trip for these two guys. This is probably the highlight of their entire life. That whole year, definitely. And because they probably weren't, I don't know if they were going to the bar scene. Like, hey, I was handing out tickets at the Hasbro booth and kind of lording over people doing that. Like, oh, let me make babies with you. I don't think that was happening. So they're giving these tickets out, and it's really weird, right? So, sorry to take a water break. For those who don't know, this is my John F. Kennedy Leadership Cup. I got this back on the cell phone days. So that one comic book store that calls me an asshole, they used to call me the cell phone guy. Well, this is from being the cell phone guy. And you're welcome that you're still around because I spent a lot of money at your store with my commission checks. I guess that's me being an a-hole. They're doing these weird things with these tickets. So there's two guys and they're talking across, and it's getting bigger and bigger, this line. And they give a ticket to this guy's wife. And it's like the wife and the kid. And the guy's talking to the guy, and the wife's like tugging on his shirt, like, come on, come on, come on. He's like, all right, hey, yeah, good luck, man. I'll see you. So he walks over, and the two guys leave the line and charge this guy like they're going to spear him, like they're freaking Bill Goldberg. And they go, what the F are you doing? He's like, whoa, man, get out of my face. And I'm like, there's going to be a fight over toys. This is crazy. Excuse me. And the wife's like, no, 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 he's with me. He's with me. It's my husband. He's got the money. And they're like squaring up on this guy like they're going to hit him. And they're like, oh, you can go in with her. And I'm like, what the freak is going on here, man? There's people just trying to buy toys. I was like, I don't even know if this is worth it. So then I finally get a ticket. I get in the line. And I find out you can get one item per person. I'm like, well, I got like 10 people that want me to get this damn Sky Striker. I've got people want the Boba Fett. Well, they're sold out of Boba Fett. And in the Sky Striker, the lady behind me was like, well, you get this one item for me, I'll give you money. I was like, yeah, well, you get me an extra Sky Striker. Cool. So I ended up getting 2 Sky Strikers, one for me and one for my buddy Robin. So Robin, you better be watching this. You better be working tomorrow too. Um, and I'm like, goodness sakes, this is Friday, right? And then I go find where the comic books are. Well, the Mile High Comics guy has like half the freaking area quarantined off for his stuff. So he's super expensive as is, but now he's like quadruple the price because he's at Comic Con. Because you got to make that booth money, right? Way overpriced for his graded books. Is all he brought. So I'm like, I'm not even going to entertain that nonsense, and I don't really care for that guy. That's a story for another day. And most of it has to do with his allowing Diamond Comics to be a monopoly, to being a federal witness, and then also some other scandalous things he's up to, which I wouldn't leave my kid with that guy. We'll just say. So anyway, um, I go to these other areas, and we just got the Overstreet price guide. So I always look up certain books: GI Joe, Transformers, ROM, X-Men, Avengers, Cap. I'm like, okay, prices up, down, whatever. So I'm kind of savvy with the prices. So I'm like, okay, well, these are kind of like some normal back issue bins. I find 2 ROM books that I need for my ROM, the Space Knight collection. And Dan Telegani, hi, what's up? Ghostbuster, damn it. Dan, give me a Ghostbuster, damn it. My son and I were saying that the other day in the pool. Um, glad you jumped on, buddy. Um, so I find these 2 ROM books I need. And at absolute most, they were $8 each, right? The lady's like, they're $25 each. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, they're from the 80s. I'm like, well, I'm from the 80s too, but I'm not $25. Much more than that. Kind of vintage toy. Then I'm a vintage, not, been out of package kind of item. And I was like, lady, I own a comic book and toy store. I know what the price of these are. They're not $20 each. They're $6. You got $8 on them. I got you. Oh, no, no, no. They're $20 because we're at the show. And I'm like, well, then you can have them back. So I didn't buy very many comics. I didn't buy any from them. I bought them from somebody else. So I end up, they had a FedEx there at the show. This is how serious it is. They have a freaking FedEx depot right there at the show. So you can buy your stuff, take it over there, and ship it back home. So I end up lugging around 80 pounds of comics and toys. I've lost Peter. I don't know where the hell he is. Hopefully we meet up again because I think he had the room key. I don't know. And I go to Entertainment Earth. I was friends with Entertainment Earth, and they have a 2-story booth. They're like, come on up, man, and rest. So I sit down. I'm like, phew. I'm so wore out from being on my feet. I put all these toys and comics down. I look over, and there's Detective Batista from Dexter doing a podcast. I can't think of the actor's name. He was the dictator in Expendables. That's what I know him as. And he's been in other things. Great actor. And I'm like, hey, what's up, man? He goes, hey, how are you? And I'm like, I'm doing good, man. Oh, good to hear, man. Keep up the good work. I'm like, yeah, you too, man. Love your work. I was like, wow, I'm sitting next to this freaking actor and he's doing a podcast. So I'm resting. I'm like, all right, got to get back at it. So I'm buying more stuff, running around, all this stuff, right? Now, people said, what about all the Hall H stuff? All the movie and TV stuff? And it was like, yeah, you don't do that if you're on the floor. Because, like, people that get those seats sleep on the street to get tickets to go in there. And most of it you can just watch on your phone or on a computer and get all the highlights, not miss anything. Kevin Robinson, 5440. Them dudes probably don't have too much live activity going on. Shaking my head. They probably still don't, man. They might be a couple together now because they had nothing going on except bullying people on Hasbro tickets, which is freaking ridiculous. And they had like a boss that looked like John Stamos that was like, kind of like watching things. I'm like, bro, like, sound like Vince Russo, bro. They're like freaking acting like maniacs over here, right? Like, just hand out the damn tickets. You get people spending money with your booth. Like, come one, come all. It's my philosophy. So I'm kind of working the floor, running to Peter. Peter's like, hey, Flashpoint, they're going to screen it tonight. Those don't know, Flashpoint was a book written by Jeff Johns and I believe Ethan Van Sciver, or Ivan Rice, one or maybe both, all of three of them, about Flash. Um, History gets rewritten. Batman's dad is Batman, and Batman's mom is the Joker. Really great series. So they did an anime of it, and they were debuting it that night. So we're going up. We're gonna go up all these stairs, man. And I'm lugging this 80. I missed the I missed the FedEx depot. They shut down at 5. I got there at 5:05. They were gone. I was like, oh my God, man, I gotta lug this stuff around. Thank God DC Comics is buying dinner tonight because I'm starving. So I go upstairs with Peter, going up these stairs, like all these stairs, endless stairs, man. We get to the last set of stairs to go to this room to watch Flashpoint, and my body just locks up. Peter's like, come on, dude, we gotta go. There's a freaking show's about to start. I'm like, Peter, my body's not moving. It's shut down. I'm rebooting right now. Finally, I reboot it. All the crap I had like its own chair, and we watched Flashpoint. We're the first ones to watch Flashpoint, which was really, really cool. And if you've not read it, I recommend coming into my store and ordering it or buying it. We probably don't have it because it's one of those books we sell out of, but it's an excellent book, and just had some cool stuff involved in it. But Jeff Johns, top of his game, always, as always. So we watched Flashpoint. The next day, Saturday, we're running around. We're looking up stuff that happened in Hall H. Now, the year before, I believe it was in 2012, Tom Hiddleston, who plays Loki, shows up on stage dressed as Loki. And the whole thing, like, I have an army. And they're like, well, we have a Hulk. Well, he comes out and he's like, I have an army. And the whole crowd cheers for him. And I'm like, man, I want to have one of those moments, right? So there was one that walked right past me and didn't know it. So I had just gotten an iPhone. So I'm like my dad, a boomer, messing with this thing, trying to figure it out, right? Because they go, I'm going to buy stuff, take pictures, sell it on eBay, whatever, ship it, whatnot, be able to contact people. So I'm walking through the convention floor by myself on Saturday. And here comes this guy in the absolute best Hugh Jackman Wolverine cosplay I've ever seen in my life. I was like, holy smokes, this dude is freaking Wolverine. And so I'm sitting there with the damn phone trying to get a picture of this guy. And somehow I'm filming video of myself. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, man. I can't figure this thing out. He's like, all right, no problem. Cigar in his mouth, walks off. Well, and I'm thinking like, man, I wish I could have sent that to my wife. She loves Hugh Jackman. That would have got me husband points for who knows. Hell, she'd probably give me a girlfriend if I give her pictures of this guy, right? And come to find out, that was Hugh Jackman. He was working the crowd as Wolverine from the X-Men movies, and nobody knew it was Hugh Jackman until later on in the day where he shows up at Hall H. And I forget what they were. It was like maybe the Wolverine or something was coming out or whatever. I was like, damn it, man. This freaking Hugh Jackman was standing like right across from me, and I was trying to get a picture of him, and I was filming video of myself like an idiot. Now that morning, on our way to the convention, we'd have to call a cab. It was $25 to and from, which now I can't imagine how much it is. And I'm sitting out there, my friend's trying to get the cab. And oh my gosh, here comes this white van that pulls up. The door slides open. This Russian guy goes, get in van now. And I'm like, I've seen the Shield. I know what's about to happen here. I don't want to go in Tijuana's right across the street, literally. I don't want to lose my liver and my kidneys. I'm like, no, I'm not getting in the van with you. And here comes these like little cute girls are coming over. They were waiting for a cab too. He's like, get in the van now. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to get in the van with you, Sergey. Here comes my buddy Peter, who claims he saved my life. And he goes, no, we're going to get a cab. And so are they. We're not getting in the van with you. And he's like, get in the van, all of you now. I take you to Comic-Con. Take you to comic books. And we're like, no, we're not going to get in the van with you. I think we're okay. And so we probably all kept our kidneys and livers because of that. And we all rode a cab over there. So thank you, Peter. You saved all of our lives. Because like I said, I've seen the show, The Shield. And I thought, man, I don't know if Vic Mackey is going to come rescue my ass. And then Saturday was our last day there. The show goes on Sunday, but we were flying back on Sunday. And man, the Sons of Anarchy cast is right before the last season. They were doing this big wrap up party at Comic Con, and we missed it. And I had this plan. If it was on Saturday, I was going to pull some Axel Foley nonsense from Beverly Hills Cop, figure out what hotel they were at, steal some waiter jackets, and go up there and act like we were working there to get pictures with Charlie Hunnam, Ron Perlman, Katie Seagal, and the whole cast. And that didn't work out. But I think we saw something where some of them were getting doing like photo ops, and man, that would have been so cool to get to rub elbows with those cats. Um, let's see, the chat is saying. Scroll down here. Dan Talagani, I heard there is a new Green Lantern. Do they have a TV series or something on HBO Max, something like that? Does anyone know about it? Yes. It's a show called Lanterns, and it's going to focus on Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan. That's pretty much all I know about it. I've heard good and bad about it. It's one of those things you got to watch it and find out, you know. But let's see. Jeremy Crush, 1998. Yeah, it's an HBO series inspired by True Detective, where Hal and John investigate murder in the Midwest. Sounds pretty cool. Jeremy Crush, 1998. I actually was able to get a lantern ring from the show before they sold out on their shop online. And I remember when we had those Green Lantern rings for Blackest Night. And man, you would have thought it was gold. Free plastic, man. People were going nuts over those things. 'Cause you had the green ring, the yellow ring, the red ring, the orange ring, the blue ring. Oh, excuse me. The blue ring, the black ring, and eventually the white ring. I'm probably missing somebody, the pink ring. And man, those were cool. That was just freaking fun stuff back then. Blackest Night. If you've not read Flashpoint or Blackest Night or Green Lantern Rebirth, I highly recommend you read those. All written by Jeff Johns, top of his game. And he's doing the Ghost Machine books over at Image right now, which is Redcoat, Geiger, and Rook Exodus. And Rook Exodus is one that I really like and really enjoy. Ooh, sorry guys, it's been a long day. So I'm probably using up all the oxygen talking about these stories. So that was kind of my Comic Con trip. Spent a lot of money, a little bit more than I had planned to. It was a lot of fun. And it was weird because when I got back, Wizard World Chicago was 2 weeks later. And I thought, man, I kind of want to go to that because San Diego is so massive. To go to something a little bit smaller scale, in my mind, would make the San Diego experience better. And I ended up going with a friend of mine, Colonel Rich Poor, and it made it a better experience. The flight home was pretty interesting. So when I fly, I have to read to keep my mind off being in a giant bullet shooting at tremendous speeds across the atmosphere. And sitting there reading this G.I. Joe graphic novel. Um, those that don't know, I'm a G.I. Joe fan. And I'm reading this graphic novel, and this really attractive stewardess comes up. Says, "Let me guess, you came back from Comic Con." I was like, "What would have tipped you off?" She goes, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "Louisville, Kentucky." "Oh, you guys do bourbon." So I said, "Yeah, we do that. Horse racing, that sort of thing." So I got free bourbon, and that was nice. So I'm drinking this bourbon on this flight home. And they get to the point where like people can get out of the seats and everybody's rushing to the bathroom. Where there's this fat kid leaning on the emergency door. And I'm just like, and I don't know, he can't push it open. I'm just some dumb guy on an airplane. I'm like, hey, cheeseburger, get off the damn door. I don't want to get sucked out into space. He's like, what? I'm like, get off the door. You're leaning on the door. Because I could just envision that door popping open. Of course, he might have plugged up the hole. I don't know. Um, but yeah, it was a fun trip. So I would recommend, if you've never been to Comic Con, go. It's kind of like if you go to the Super Bowl or WrestleMania. It's a different experience when you watch it. Kind of like for Comic Con to be like looking on the internet, watching YouTube videos about it, versus going. You don't hear the commentary. You don't see all the backstage stuff. You're just kind of there in the mix. But I would recommend going. And if you do go, stay within walking distance. It just makes it cheaper and easier to get around, especially if you buy stuff. So there's a lot of cool stuff going on at this one. There's a lot of G.I. Joe classified stuff they've announced. Some of it we already knew. A lot of pictures of stuff. I guess the big breaking news was the Thunder Machine, which folks like myself, it's Chad, Destro's my spirit animal, I believe, and David T. Allen have all kind of talked about, to name a few people that have talked about this thing coming out. It's not a HasLab because they're not doing a HasLab. It's a built to order. So they'll build it per the orders, and you get it through Pulse. I think it looks cool. I've seen people griping about it, but you could give somebody $100 bill and they gripe about that too. Why isn't it 520s? Why isn't it 25s or 1010s? It's a freaking $100 bill. Be happy. Um, so that's like, I guess, kind of breaking news on that. I'd mentioned earlier there's an Indiana Jones comic coming from Marvel, which is really cool. I can't remember the company's name, but they're doing Airwolf, they're doing Knight Rider, and they're doing Battlestar Galactica. And I was trying to explain the original Battlestar Galactica and the one from 20 years ago to my son today in the pool, and that was interesting. Um, we might end up watching it though. He kind of expressed interest. Uh, he was underwater when I said the Galactica. I don't know what he thought I said, but he was popping up like, the Balatica? What are you talking about? And I'm like, I'm about to choke you out, son. Of course, he can choke me out too. He's pretty tough. But there's figures from that, and I don't know if they're 4 inch or 6, but they look freaking badass. They've got a Colonial Viper, a Cylon Raider. There's somebody's got an Enterprise Bridge. Uh, there's a concert with Cold Slither and Jim and the Holograms. It was really cool. It's just a fun freaking time. And it's really, sadly, it's not a lot about comic books. It's about more about stuff that comes from comic books, like movies, shows, and toys, and tchotchke knick-knack things. Super 7 had a lot of cool stuff. I guess they're going to do a Battle Beast figure from Invincible, which I'm like, how do I order one right now? Because I freaking love Battle Beast. That's a book if you've not read Battle Beast. I think I have all the issues at the store because they reprint it like every week because it sells out. It's really, really good. Back to the chat real quick. Daniel Telegani, Comic Con, and I like to go 1-on-1 New York City. I don't know when the next one is. New York Comic Con's usually in the first weekend, I think, of October or second one. That's one I really want to go to badly. It seems like San Diego Comic Con's kind of like the WrestleMania for wrestling fans. New York Comic Con's kind of like SummerSlam. C2E2 is kind of like Royal Rumble. I don't know what would be Survivor Series, maybe Heroes or Anaheim, but it's a it's it's fun to go to. New York's one I want to go to, and C2E2. Now I think Wizard World Chicago got rebranded Fan Expo. I've heard those are pretty cool. Let's see. Oh, sorry for the yawns, guys. I had this thing. I could be working out, sparring with somebody, and I'll start yawning. Which, when I used to train in Muay Thai, that was not a good thing to happen because I would get my ass kicked. Um, Charles Jones 3535. I think the Thunder Machine looks cool. I'm sure the fenders come off to give it a more retro look. Yeah, I mean, I don't expect it to look like 1986. I'm okay with it looking the way it looks. I mean, people do change clothes, you know, and people do change cars and stuff. And that thing, in my mind, that Thunder Machine's constantly being rebuilt by the Dreadnoks. Dan Delegani, that's cool. Battlestar Galactica. I love the TV series, the old one and the new one. I can't wait for the Indiana Jones comic book. Yeah, to me, that Indiana Jones book, that should have been out years ago. But for whatever reason, it wasn't. But we're getting one now. I don't know exactly when it drops. I've got to look at the details and all that. Um, but it looks fun, man. Indiana Jones is one of those things that I think works well as a comic because you can just kind of go anywhere and do anything with it. There's the thing I love about comic books is that there's no, I mean, you do have a budget, you know, what you pay your writer, artist, inker, colorist, letterer, cover artist, all that. But like, there's no special effects budget. If you want your guys to go to the moon, go inside the ocean, go anywhere, you can do it. And it's just fun. Um, let's see. Charles Jones, 3535. Interested to see what Thrasher will look like. Yeah, I imagine he probably look like the Thrasher we know and love. Probably some updates. I'm cool if they update the characters a little bit. I'm not really stuck in it that I need them to look like the real American hero figures from back in the day. My only complaint with Classified is I wish we had a companion 4-inch line to go with it. Which I guess I'm kind of glad we don't in a way because I would be dead broke. Wouldn't be able to get anything else. And there's a lot of cool stuff like Templars, which you guys should go back. Valorverse, Eagle Force, Monster Force. Um, just so much cool toys. Again, to quote Michael French, the fans do the best work. And they really, really do. Charles Jones, 3535, agreed. You should always agree with me, Charles. Chuck 2. We call Chuck 2 because he gets 2 of everything, which is true. Uh, it's kind of like if it's the thing. I mean, obviously, like the internet's a good and bad thing. Like social media is a good and bad thing. Like it's a good thing that we can do stuff like this. It's a good thing we can make our own toys and comics if we want to. It's a bad thing that people doom scroll and almost run you over on the road when they're looking at their phone and not the road. But the era we live in, you don't have to go through a antiquated, archaic publishing house to get a book made and kiss ass and pay people off to get a book made. You can just do it yourself, and you can have your own audience. You can be direct to consumer, which I will say Hasbro did that in the mid 2000s, and I think that's a precursor to Pulse, and I think that's a pretty good business model. And as a retailer, I'm a little scared they're going to do this, and others will do this. But as a stockholder, I would suggest doing this because my son and I were at Target today, and they're doing a reset. But it doesn't matter if they do a reset; there's not going to be anything there. Um, and why waste your time with Target and all these middlemen when you just directly sell to the customer? You can control the inventory. You know what you have. You know people are going to get what they want. Now, I personally think there's a thrill in going to a store and finding stuff, whether it be a comic, a back issue, a toy, an old toy, you name it. I think there's a thrill in that. Dan Telegani, have you seen the He-Man movie yet? Yes, I did. We did a whole podcast with expectations about it, and I think the next week we talked about it briefly without spoilers. I liked it quite a bit. Couple of complaints I had about it was I didn't like that it made fun of itself so much, and I could just see some Hollywood execs and like, wow, we got to be silly about it. It's He-Man. He's like a gay gym bunny running around and blah 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 blah. And it's like, well, then don't make it. If you think it's silly, don't make it. Save the money, or kind of take it serious. Like when you saw the movie Gladiator, it's about men wearing armor and shorts fighting each other. They didn't take it. They didn't weren't silly about it. It's a pretty serious movie. Won some Oscars. Um, I thought it made fun of itself a little bit too much, and I didn't like all the profanity in it. And I'm not a prude. I do have a rule that we don't say GD in the store because I don't blaspheme God, and then I don't cuss in front of women and kids in the store. But other than that, if you're just talking to me, you can say what you want. Um, but in a movie like that, it's based on a kid's toy property that I've got my 9-year-old son with me. I don't need all the cussing. Maybe an S word here or there. But damn, man, they they said some stuff in that movie, and the sexual innuendo jokes were a little bit. I don't know. I think you could have done it in a way where you didn't have to be so on the nose about it. But other than that, I liked the movie. I thought Skeletor was terrifying. Um, when it got going, it got going. The excuse me, the end credit scenes I thought were or extra credit scenes, as I call it, I thought were pretty cool. The one with Orko made me just smile, laugh, and giggle and tear up at the same time because I just thought that was so cool. Kevin Robinson, 5440. Did you see the Clayface trailer? No, I have not. I think I'm like the one human on earth that's not seen it, if I'm a human at all. Um, haven't seen it. Now we have a comic book for Clayface right now. I don't know how related to that it is. Charles Jones, 3535. We watched it last night. I loved it. Really enjoyed the cartoon references. I agree. Some of the jokes in language were surprising. Yeah, I felt it was really. I liked that it was faithful to the look of the characters. When He-Man fights in Snake Mountain, I thought that was so badass and so cool. Dan Telegani, I agree with that 100%. Well, thank you, Dan. You heard what I said to Chuck to always agree with me, even when I'm wrong. I can talk about it when I'm not there. Um, the movie I thought was cool, and I'm glad they're going to do a sequel. Sadly, though, every one of the big movies that have come out this year, from Disclosure Day to Supergirl to, I guess they're saying the Odyssey's making money. I don't believe it. Um, have all bombed, and I don't think it's because people don't want to go to the movies. Because there's what was the independent movie you guys can tell me out there in chat? I think it was a horror movie that came out. It's done like it did like $220 million in its like first week. It was insane. Had a budget of like 700 grand. Obsession maybe, or that might be one of them. But there's been like 2 or 3 movies like that under the radar that have just blown up. So it's not that people don't go to the movies. Like everybody's like, oh, I go home, I watch stuff on streaming. Sure, streaming to me is like cable. Like we don't have rabbit antennas, turning the dial. We had a cable box and a remote. Now we do it off of streaming. We don't have to have the wires. To me, it's not necessarily like I'm going to watch a movie on streaming. I mean, I want like an old one, but like I want to still go to get that theater experience, the camaraderie of other people, the the laughs, the cries, the whatever when you're watching a film. There's an experience to that. Now I could do without the 15 minutes of commercials and the overabundance of trailers, which I love watching trailers. But when the movies are crap, I don't really want to watch a trailer. Kevin Robinson, 5440. Trapjaw looked real in the movie. He was freaking cool and terrifying. And I like how Triclops was a sniper. Trapjaw and Triclops were like my two dudes in He-Man on the villain side. They were like two of my favorite characters. And crazy enough, I liked Webster. And it wasn't until about 5 years ago that I figured out Webster was supposed to be a spider. So I feel like my whole childhood was a lie because of that. Dan Telegani, the little boy asked his dad, was that mean the part to focus on the movie? He tried to dodge the question. You'll have to clarify that, sir. Um, but the movies this summer have all Supergirl tanked, He-Man officially tanked. I guess the Odyssey, they're going to try to salvage that thing, but I think it's going to ultimately not make money. Like it did well last weekend, but I don't think it's going to cover its budget, especially with the marketing. Um, He-Man Disclosure Day, which Disclosure Day looked kind of silly to me. Like people are like, "Do you think there's aliens?" I'm like, I really don't care. If it doesn't change my worldviews one bit. If there's aliens, all that means is I have people to sell my book to that are not of this world. Um, the but I couldn't tell if Disclosure Day was trying to be like a pseudo documentary, a fantasy movie, a mixture of the two. Steven Spielberg's weird comments about this will make people question religion. Why question Steven Spielberg's friendship with Epstein? But anyway, that's another topic. Shots fired. Shots fired. Dan Telegani. I didn't see Disclosure yet, but did like Supergirl and somewhat. But do you understand where you coming from? I think Supergirl was that bad. I did like the story. For Puppy, I don't know. I forgot. I did too, buddy. Dan Telegani, the dog in the name. I'm over Rusty on the Supergirl's dog's name. Crypto. Crypto's his name. It's sad that it's sad that movie theater is dying. Out streaming is killing it. They already killed Blockbuster and the video stores. There are a few video stores left in Kentucky. You know, it's funny because Blockbuster's supposed to be making a comeback. And I think, to me, streaming, again, and I hope I'm articulating this properly. Back in the day, we had radio. Then we had black and white TVs with antennas. Then we had color TVs with antennas. Then we had a cable box that was about yay big with a dial that you go and you'd put it on the number and that was the channel. Then eventually you had a receiver where you'd have a remote that you would do your cable. Then you'd have this or that. Now you have like a Roku, Fire Stick, or whatever. So you just, instead of having cables from the wall, like my TV has to be over here because this is where the cable hookup is. You can have your TV anywhere and you can just stream it using the internet and radio waves, which our atmosphere is made up of radio waves. And we've just gotten smart as people that we can transmit data on those radio waves. Um, so uh, to me, streaming is like cable. It's just the mechanism and how we watch it. I don't want streaming to replace the experience of movies and so on and so on. Um, so I do think like if it make good movies, people will go see them. And sadly, Hollywood just hasn't been able to do that. It's all agenda driven remakes. I mean, my God, when they remade Point Break, I'm like, are you serious? Point Break really isn't that old in the scheme of things, and it's an excellent movie. It's one of those movies you can watch it now and it still holds up, despite being in the early '90s. So I think like when Hollywood, when they make good stuff, when you build it, they'll come. Basically, to quote a movie, like I always say, like Picard season 1 and 2, nothing about those appealed to me. The space Legolas, if it was woke or wasn't woke, I don't know. It just looked like not what I wanted to see. When I think of like Picard, I think of like Riker, Worf, Data, Troy, um, Dr. Crusher, Chief O'Brien, the Enterprise. I think of that. And that's what season 3 was. And season 3 was freaking amazing. If you've not watched Picard season 3, I didn't watch 1 and 2. Do you know there's some stuff with Q in it? And Picard's in a positronic body now. Season 3 is excellent. It's the perfect send off. Just like Star Trek 6, the Undiscovered Country was the perfect send off for the original cast. Star Trek Picard season 3 is the perfect send off for the next gen crew. And really Voyager and kind of Deep Space Nine. It's so well done. In fact, I might start watching it again. When and if I get off here. Maybe we'll go for another hour. No, I'm just teasing. We won't do that. Mandalorian and Grogu should have came straight to Disney Plus. Agreed, Kevin. Robinson 5440. It bombed too. Jeremy Crush, 1998. I think the issue is with these movies, the budgets are so high before marketing costs, it's almost impossible for companies to make profit unless it is a big IP or very cheap budget. You're 100% right. Sometimes less is more. I mean, you look at stuff like we talked about earlier. I Play Rocky. What do you think the budget was on that? Wild guess. Certainly wasn't $400 million. And some of these movies, I've been asked all week, what did you think of the Avengers trailer? What did you think of the Avengers trailer? Honestly, it didn't move me one way or the other. And it looked like all the AI trailers I've seen for the past 6 months that claimed to be the Avengers trailer. Because when it came out, I was like, well, this is just another fake AI trailer. But it had all the same, what they call high spots from wrestling in the trailer, if you think about it. Um, and I'm like, it just looks like a big special effects fest that in 5 years we'll look back on and be like, yeah, that really doesn't hold up. you know, I will say, like, Empire Strikes Back is my all-time favorite movie. And yes, if you look at it with a critical eye, you can tell that the AT-ATs are, stop motion. If you look at it with a critical eye, if you look at it from entertainment eye, it's one of the greatest movies of all time, and it still holds up. Same with Star Wars and Return of the Jedi. When we get into these like CGI love fests, like, oh, we can do anything. Yeah, but it's not always going to hold up. There's parts of the Hobbit movies, not Lord of the Rings, but the Hobbit, that just don't look like they hold up. One movie that I think holds up that was a mixture of practical and special effects was the first Iron Man. That movie to this day still holds up. Yes, I may have a little bias towards Iron Man and Robert Downey Jr. Excuse me there. But the story, the acting, the timeliness, the effects of the movie still hold up. Later movies, not so much. I think the original Guardians and Guardians 2 hold up really well. Batman 89, which, I mean, you don't really have a lot of special effects in that. Superman the movie. Man of Steel, I think all those still hold up. Now, let me back up on Man of Steel. Whew, sorry. I'm about to get my ass kicked in a movie type fight if I keep yawning. Kevin Robinson's going to jump through the screen and whoop me. There's parts of Man of Steel, like when they're fighting in the corn maze or whatever, and fighting in the city, that it's like a CGI fest. But so to me, like, less is more. Less is more with dialogue. Less is more with the visuals. Let the visuals tell the story. Less is more with the effects. Do practical as much as you can, like Peter Jackson did in Lord of the Rings. Like, who, I can't remember what actor it was, said all I do is talk in front of a green screen. I'm not even, and I'm wearing like bubbles or like a suit with balls on it. Not balls, but like little balls. So they can map out the costume and stuff. It's like, I think back to Return of the Jedi, where I think it was like 8 people that made Jabba the Hutt come to life. And you watch that and you're like, that's a giant slug that's talking to Han Solo and Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker. It wasn't like Mandalorian where they had the Hutts like running around and it just looked kind of silly. But I think that's part of the problem. And yes, the marketing they spend on these things, minimum $100 million. It's just way too much money. Wait till you have freaking Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok that you can post your trailer to and get people going viral and talking about it. Charles Jones 3535 probably should have gotten rid of probably shouldn't have gotten rid of your top heroes to continue the MCU. 100% agree with you on that. Kevin Robinson 5440. It costs a lot to make a family to the movie. Costs a lot to take a family to the movies nowadays. Yeah, especially if you take me because it's a minimum large popcorn. Jeremy Crush. Everyone wants to be the next MCU. I think for DC, they should do more movies about heroes and the teams without having to reboot constantly or homework and watching movies to get the new one. I agree. I think Marvel did a good job in building up like they did one to like the Avengers and then ultimately to Endgame or Infinity War. But I think that sometimes you just got to tell a story and just let it be a story. And yes, it can be in the same universe. Like for instance, with the Actionverse comics or graphic novels, if you will, the flagship book's The Dominus. I have a book called Crossplot that'll be coming out at some point. It's in the same universe. It references moments with characters from The Dominus, but you don't have to read Dominus to understand Crossplot. You don't have to read Crossplot to understand The Dominus. And when my military book comes out, you don't have to read either one to understand that book. But if you read them all, it all makes more sense. That's the way these things should be, kind of just like comics. Matt Fraction's doing a really great job on the regular Batman title. Every issue is kind of a one and done, but it leads to bigger things without telling you it's doing that. You know, like the deconstructing of comics characters, so famously done by Brian Michael Bendis, the destroyer of worlds, if you will. Um, and the guy with the weird dialogue. Um, you know, like issue one matters and issue six, 2 through 5 are filler. So we can sell a graphic novel. You will guess what? You can still sell the graphic novel because some people just buy graphic novels because they don't want to deal with comic book boxes and bags and boards, and they might want to take it on a trip or lend it to a buddy. Sorry, I'm playing with my Rambo figure here. Murdoch, I'll give you a war you wouldn't believe. Now I kind of want to watch Rambo. What should I watch after this? Picard season 3 or one of the Rambos? I'll let you guys decide. Um, Charles, let's see. Charles Jones 3535. Man of Steel was awesome. Love the battle. Love the battle in Smallville with Feora and the big Kryptonian. Charles also says a good death is his own reward. I almost got a good death as my own reward because I kept talking about how hot Feora was in front of my wife. And she almost put out the blade and took me out. Jeremy Crush, I think the Batman can be in the DCU without changing the world because while Batman does stuff with the League, you can keep Gotham separate enough from the rest of the DCU. 100% agree. Same thing with like Charles is laughing at me now. Um, Same thing with all these characters, man. Like I like the idea that one of the complaints I get in the store all the time is like, well, how can Captain America be in the Avengers, show up in the New Avengers and Uncanny Avengers in his own book, all in the same month? It's like, well, one's a Monday, one's a Tuesday, one's a Thursday, and one's a Saturday. Boom. I don't sit and worry about that. I just read the story, and my brain and my head canon will decide when and where all that takes place, if it's not specifically explained to me. But I like the idea of the characters kind of standing on their own and then, getting in the mix with the others. With the movies, somebody said, do I think Avengers Doomsday is going to succeed or fail? Whew. I was like, I don't really know. I think the way we're tracking with a lot of these movies, I don't think it's going to succeed. I don't think it'll fail, but I don't think it's going to quote unquote succeed. I think it's a cameo fest with a lot of special effects. It's kind of pulling a DC where they went from Man of Steel to Justice League without earning the currency, without having the currency to spend as far as like the currency of the build up of the characters, emotional investment. It's one thing that Marvel did really well was you got introduced to Hawkeye, you got introduced to Black Widow, got introduced to the main characters, and then you put them all together in the Avengers. And it all freaking made sense. And you had somebody that was your favorite, whether you grew up with them or not. and just kind of ran with it. And I think that was really brilliant. And all those movies kind of stand on their own. Um, like Captain America Winter Soldier. That freaking movie is phenomenal. It's got freaking Robert Redford in it, man. 3 Days of the Condor, Jeremiah Johnson, Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid. I mean, hell, I mean, it's got freaking Robert Redford. And that's a great, great, great movie. And yeah, it's a superhero movie. Superheroes can be fun and have all that stuff. It doesn't have to be all this end of the world scenario. So, like in my opinion, I think they should have slowly did this because they went with the go woke, go broke stuff, which art is subjective. Like no one really cared about Shang-Chi. No one cared about the Eternals. And the box office receipts prove that. Plus, some of the actors don't really. We won't get into what the Shang-Chi guy said, but it was pretty disgusting towards a certain group of people. And very unnecessary, I think. But like, start small, think big, and act small. Like, it means think like you're a big business, act like a small business. Same thing with these movies. Like, get us back to basics. Like, you're throwing in like Man Ape and female Black Panther and Namor and the Fantastic Four and Shang-Chi and Thor and this one and that one. Now here's Steve Rogers and Iron Man's Doctor Doom. And it's like, my God, can you throw anything out in the X-Men and all that stuff? It's too much. And I don't care if they're going to do Secret Wars. I don't care what they're going to do. It's too much. This multiverse stuff is that drives normies away from the theater. And I've been right about that since day one when I warned against it. Multiverse in comics, multiverse in movies, TV drives people away. Some of us will stick around for it because we understand it. But your normies, which is the audience you want to attract, not the people that are already going to buy the ticket, but the freaking audience you want to attract, the normies, people like my wife, people like her friends, whatever, that's who you want to go see these movies because they spend money on their kids for a Captain America t-shirt or a toy. But man, when you're throwing all this stuff out there, it's too much. Then where do you go from there? You do 2 movies back to back. You gave Robert Downey Jr. a king's ransom to be in these things, and probably Chris Evans. And it's like, then what do you do? They're going to fight like the Wrecking Crew next? That's where you should be at right now. And when they really made their mistake, that they didn't do Black Panther 2 right out the gate with Chadwick Boseman. Maybe he was too sick. I don't know. That guy was a stud. He was a great actor. God rest his soul. Phenomenal actor. That movie did $1 billion. Natural diversity. Really didn't need Frodo Baggins in it. But other than that, like you could have ran with that and then another Avengers. Maybe you introduce some of the Eternals. You're looking for the Thanos egg, whatever that is. And it leads to this, leads to that, leads to this. But I mean, like, there's going to have like 60 freaking people in this movie. It's too much. And I think that's the weight of it's going to wear it down. There's no way it's going to make the money it needs to make to overcome the marketing budget and the special effects budget and what I call the ego budget of getting some of the big name talent back. And then what do you do from there? Like, is Robert Downey going to be Iron Man again? Are we going to have Doctor Doom movies? I mean, he's almost 60. He said he was done. They threw a lot of money at him and he came back. Which, I mean, you can be Iron Man and be 70, and he really doesn't look that old at all. You can replace the actors. I mean, what are you going to do after this? They're going to do probably stupid things, and then Robert Downey's 80. We got to bring you back for Infinity Crusade or something. Back to the chat. Jeremy Crush 1998. Did you see the MCU has plans until 2042 now? That's cool, and it's also kind of weird at the same time. Like, just make stories and go where the story takes you. Charles Jones, and I think that 2042 stuff is to try to instill confidence in the fan base they've lost. They're like, oh no, look, we got this planned out. It's going to be great. You have these big tentpole movies from here to eternity. I don't really care about all their plans, you know, because they're going to change it anyway. Whatever happened to Rogue Squadron? It looks like Fantastic Four movie with a bunch of pals. Don't care for the new Fantastic Four. Yeah, Pedro Pascal is not really leading man material, and I think Mandalorian Grogu's box office receipts kind of prove that, and Fantastic Four's box office receipts. Um, he just seems kind of weak and wimpy. I know that appeals to a certain group of people out there. They think that's what manhood is, but I really don't think that is. Dan Telegani, I would like to see Patrick Stewart play Professor X one more time in the X-Men. The new X-Men movie is coming out. Well, I don't think it's an X-Men movie. It's the X-Men are in this Avengers movie, and he does play Professor X in it. But I think the Avengers Doomsday is officially his last movie. He said. Picard season 3 was pretty awesome, but it was really hard hearing him talk with as old as he is because he kind of has that old man voice now, and it was a little unsettling. Um, Dan Telegani of Rambo, so I should watch Rambo. Which Rambo? One, two, three, Rambo or Rambo Last Blood? Dan Telegani and two. Okay, I guess he's first two Rambos. Charles Jones, Secret Wars should have happened before the Infinity Saga. 100% agree. But it's easy to Monday morning quarterback this stuff. I think if they weren't going to start with Black Panther 2 and Avengers, I guess 5, because it makes logical sense to go with the movies that just did $1 billion, start it over and start it over with Spider-Man and FF the way it did in the comics. But yeah, Secret Wars should have happened before that. Kevin Robinson, yeah, Winter Soldier is dope. 1000% agree with you. Speaking of dope, do you like Three Times Dope? I like a couple of their songs. Wonder what your opinion is on that. Very overlooked group. Dan Telegani, not yet. I have got to go back and watch X-Men, the cartoon, TV series, and Old School 1 again. And we'll have to season 1 in 97 in French that up. And I'm waiting for the second season to come out. Let's see. Oh, let me go back. I skipped ahead. Jimmy Crush also doesn't help when they said Phase 4. Was everyone coping with what happened in Endgame? What what a way to say these projects aren't important. Ken Robinson, have you all watched episode of X-Men 97? Yes, it's pretty awesome. It's a serious cartoon. Yes. Yes, it is. And supposedly they're going to do Spider-Man, which maybe we'll hear news about that. Hopefully we hear news this weekend about the Energon Universe cartoon, which will be blow all that away. But it is kind of wild because we got in quite a bit of old Uncanny X-Men, and I have a gap from about 150 to about 230 I'm trying to fill, and I've been reading those as I get them. And man, it brings back memories as a kid and just good Chris Claremont writing before he got too verbose in the 90s. Can you imagine him doing this podcast? He would outtalk me. Well, it wouldn't be talk, it would just be writing. X-Men 97 is a really good cartoon. That's one of the things I think that Disney has done really well. Whew. Sorry. I think it's one of the things Disney's done really well with the Marvel stuff is X-Men 97. And I hope they do that with Spider-Man. I hope they do it with Iron Man. Iron Man and FF cartoons are really unwatchable. So, I mean, anything they do would be a step up. No offense to people that were involved in those. But I mean, again, like with cartoons, you can do all types of cool stuff. The Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. That was an excellent cartoon. It was always funny because like Marvel always seemed to get TV and movies right over DC couldn't, but they could get the cartoons right. This was the one time that Marvel got the cartoon right next to X-Men 97. were kind of a little bit had kind of like the team from the Avengers movie, but also brought in like Wasp and Ant-Man and other characters. What do you guys hope to see out of Comic-Con? This one that we're in right now. Is there something in particular you're looking for? A toy, cartoon, comic, tchotchke? What is it? Kevin Robinson, yes, indeed. Funky Dividends was my favorite song of theirs. And what a true song that is. Man, what a true song that is. You need to come in with the slope with the lines, Kevin. You do it, I'll do it. I'll spike my hair up. I had some lines back in my head back in the day. I tried to trim my hair up and I cut out a chunk of hair like right here. And my dumbass was trying to glue it and tape it on there. And I realized that wasn't going to work. And I don't wear hats because I got this going on. And I'm wearing a hat. And my buddy and I were going to this girl's house. And everybody's like, Dan, you're wearing a hat. Why are you wearing a hat? You never wear a hat. And I'm standing like this talking to people so they couldn't see the big gap in my head. So my mom made me walk to the barber to teach me a lesson. And the guy looked at me and goes, don't ever cut your hair again. So I had the tightest fade, man. Brothers were complimenting me at school. Like, hey, man, hey, dog, love your fade. It was the tightest my sides ever were. You would have thought I was in a hip hop crew or I was joining the military. It's how tight my fade was. And then that's when all my dreams of being Pete Nice with a throne, a cane, and a cigar in high school, which got shot down. Let's see. I want to thank everybody again for being here tonight. We'll probably call it a wrap here in a few minutes because I got to tuck my kid in and see my wife for a little bit, maybe refill my bourbon. I'm working on a mechanism where I have a little bell I can ring and somebody will come refill it for me. Hope they don't watch this because I'll probably get shot. Dan Telegani, is Marvel pushing too far to go up to the year 2042? I think so, man. I think that's too ambitious. I mean, that's like the plans you have on the whiteboard that you don't necessarily show. Um, I just think it would be better to let's focus on the year and the next year. Let's not focus on 2042. I think that's just a ploy on their end to kind of it's a ploy to make people think, oh man, it's just like 2012 when they had the little thing to 2016 and 2016 to 2019. Don't fall for that crap. Uh, there's some people that'll fall for it. I think it's too much. It's way, way, way too much. That's like 20 plus years away. And I just think that's or less than 20 years away, I guess, but it's too far away. I think they should focus on the here and now, making the best product they can. Less is more. And like you can talk about this year and next, let's leave it at that. And so, yeah, the future looks bright. It's unlimited. Plan to keep doing this stuff and make good quality stories. Charles Jones, 3535. Definitely want the Shipwreck and Cadet Deming set. I'm 50-50 on the Fatal Fluffies, but I got to have at least one for the set. Man, I'm with you. I want the Shipwreck Cadet Deming set. That's for those who don't know, that's from the story, the cartoon episodes, the two-parter, No Place Like Springfield, or is it No Place Like No Place Like Springfield? Where Shipwreck gets amnesia. It's really trippy. That was a two-parter, and that and World Without Ends was another two-parter that really kind of mess with your mind a little bit as a kid and as an adult when you watch them. And it's got a really sad ending on the Shipwreck one, where his quote unquote house is burning with what's in it. And Flint and Lady J are like, "Hey, what's wrong? Something important in there?" And he's like, "Nah, nothing at all." And that was his whole hopes and dreams. Watch those episodes; are on YouTube. Uh, yeah, Fatal Fluffies. Man, I don't even know how much they are. I gotta at least get one. I kind of like to have two. Um, Pan Talagani, the first one, First Blood. Yeah, but I get pissed off when I watch it. because that small town sheriff won't let him leave him alone. And I keep playing with this one from Rambo 2. Or maybe, just maybe, I'll watch the Green Berets because I got Bulldog, Colonel Kirby here. Well, you're what this is all about. John Wayne. Kevin Robinson, 5440. EST had the Gumby haircut. Brother, if you walk in the shop with that, I will freaking mark out and pop. I go, EST, that Nicholas one, greatest man alive. I'll start doing the dance they did for you. I used to do that stuff in high school. That was pretty good. Would have brothers come up and ask me how to do a dance move. And then I ended up getting a date from a girl because of that. She saw me dancing at a mixer. They called them mixers in my day. It's kind of, I don't know what they call them now. Like advanced play dates. I don't know. Charles Jones, 3530. Where did you get the Rambo figures? From Marauder Gun Runners. That's one of their figures. That was one of the Vietnam Kickstarters. And then this Green Beret, it's not Colonel Troutman. It's John Wayne from the Green Berets. Excellent movie that he directed. He directed that and the Hellfighters. Have you ever seen the Hellfighters? It's a really fun, good movie. It's about men that put out oil rig fires, which pretty cool stuff. There's a character named Chance. I think his name's Chance. It's just a fun movie. Really, really, really fun movie. But yeah, that's where that one came from, is the Marauder Gun Runners booth. Which I guess you could get it online. Let's see. Oh, hold on a second. Be right back, guys. Almost. Want to get on the show for a second? Say hi. Come on, come on. All right. So we have a DanCast special. We have a very special guest, my little boy, Wyatt Thompson. How are you, Wyatt?
Good.
How's your summer going?
Good.
Look at you got to look up. Tell everybody hello.
Hello.
Show them your muscles.
No.
Yeah, you got some muscles. He's tough. This kid's tough. You having a good summer?
Yeah.
What's the most fun you've done all summer? Hang out with my daddy. Hang out with my daddy.
That's a hard one. I guess it's your choice.
Hang out with your daddy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's been my favorite part of the summer too. That's it. Get your chin down there. You going to bed?
I mean, I guess.
Let's see. Charles Jones, 3535. The angle almost looks like 6-inch scale. That's what she said. Charles Jones, 3535. Greetings, Wyatt. You're not supposed to laugh at that. You don't know what that means. Guys, should I let Wyatt watch Commando?
Yes.
I need a vote. I need a thumbs up, thumbs down. I feel like he's maybe okay to watch it, but it might be kind of fun if he watches it. But
Please say yes.
he wants to watch it really bad. We listened to the soundtrack in the car today. We were making the really stern faces like Arnold.
Maybe I'll get on the call next time.
Yeah, maybe you will. Kevin Robinson says, yep. Oh, Jeremy Crush says thumbs up. So that's two. That's two for Wyatt watching Commando.
Okay, once I get my channel, you gotta watch my Minecraft stuff.
Yeah, what's up, Wyatt? It's coming soon on the Actionverse Entertainment.
We're just gonna find out to show how I would show you my screen.
You got to look up when you talk to somebody.
Okay, sorry.
Can't talk down. I want to see the bottom of your head. Like, it's my little boy. I'm really proud of him. He's going to turn 10 in almost a month and a half, and it's kind of unreal.
With the 7 spectators.
It's something like that. Okay, so we got another vote. Chuck Jones says yes.
Charles Jones.
Yeah, well, I call him Chuck Chuck. That's Chuck Chuck. Chuck. So I guess you might get to watch Commando.
When?
Maybe this weekend. All right, well, give me a hug and kiss. I got to finish the show and get off here. I'll be up in a minute. I love you. Whoa, watch out. His hugs and kisses are that powerful and knocks stuff over. Love you, bud.
Love you.
All right. See you in the morning.
Bye-bye, live stream. Get ready to watch some Minecraft in a few years or so. There will be tips on how to make a skygen. Tell your kids if they play Minecraft. And other games if you have, as in Fortnite.
Your daddy, me, got a battle royale win.
It was 8 players left.
It does not matter how many
You
players.
were not.
Talking to the camera, bud, where they can see you.
You were not the one to get the victories. I'm the one that's got all the victories. Okay, it may be good. I was taking a shower and 8 players left. You're one.
I said I won.
Yeah, but there's 8 players left. That's like 9 times of what people would be in a game.
You just made this show come to life, buddy. I'm just saying. Everybody's like, yeah, an hour and a half was boring till Wyatt came on.
And then you get a shotgun and shoot the guy in the head through a tree. Which
Well, I'm not used to the controllers on.
when you go in the net and start shooting on the ground with the ammo and stuff, when there's like 3 fights going on, and then when I pull up in the car on Max PS5, headshot them all, they're dead, victory. That's exactly what happens every match.
So you guys want to see Wyatt with his own YouTube channel? His own YouTube show. What's up, Wyatt? Talking about Minecraft, video games, his adventures, running around.
Why can't I just have my own channel?
It's contract negotiation, buddy.
Well, one of
All right, give me a hug and kiss.
Well, what's the chances kids are gonna be watching?
Well, we want to get kids on there. Give me a hug and kiss. Love you. See you in the morning.
All right. Well, they better not be watching stuff where you first were on that.
Okay, go.
Bye-bye, live stream. See you tomorrow.
Love you, bud. Just never know who's going to pop up on here. Let's see. Charles Jones, Magnificent 7. What on earth does it have to do with Commando? And how do you figure this looks like a 6-inch figure? He's the typical Marauder 4-inch. Well, that was fun having my little boy on there. That's probably my favorite show now because he was on. He's kind of my world, if you don't know. He wants to do a YouTube channel really bad. We're trying to figure out how to do the where you can play and have it on the screen, and he can be on the screen too. Dan Telegani, what about Rambo 3? Rambo 3 has one of the best sequences in the movies, where Colonel Troutman and John Rambo have escaped. They've fought off the Spetsnaz, and they're on this little thing, and the Russian army pulls up, and they're like, "Surrender! We do not want to kill you. We want to take you prisoner." Blah 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 blah. And Colonel Troutman's like, "What do you say, Johnny?" Excuse my language, and White just left the room. And Rambo's like, "Fuck him," and they just start firing at him. But then the Mujahideen show up and kind of help turn the tide. Charles Jones, now it looks like a 12-inch figure. How much bourbon have you had, Chuck? Goodness sakes, I've only had one glass. It is a... I'm not going to start with you. This might be the longest show I've done. Goodness sakes. But I really want to thank everybody for being on. Oh, let's see. Charles Jones laughing at me. Yeah, I'm laughing at you too, buddy. Want to thank everybody for being on. Next month is going to be awesome because I'm moving around. It's going to drive my mom nuts when I do that. I'm going to do, if you missed it earlier in the show, I said in the month of August, each Friday or Saturday, we're going to do an episode where one weekend we talk about G.I. Joe, one weekend we talk about the Transformers, one weekend we talk about Star Wars, and then the last one, we talk about Turtles. And I don't know what order we're going to do yet. It depends on my guests, because we're going to have me and 3 other people talking about these topics. Like, what are they? Who are they? What do they mean to us? And what are their relevance for today? And it's going to be a lot of fun stuff. So all this month I've done interviews. It's been a blast. I enjoy interviewing people, but this next month we're just going to do a lot of groups talking about different lines. And then in September, we're going to mix it up. And hopefully by September, I'm going to start doing my 8 to 10 minute little monologue videos, talking about memories, moments, whatever the heck is on my mind that I want to talk about. So I appreciate everybody being on the live stream tonight. It's been fun. Go support Templars. I will post a link on here, on my Facebook page, on Twitter, on my arm, wherever it needs to go. It is a awesome toy line. It has so much potential. And, it's very toyetic, and it will match up with your other 3 3/4 O-ring figures and some of your 4-inch figures. And it's just neat. Like we've said multiple times, the Michael French has said from Retro Blasting, shout out to them. They do a really great job. The fans are doing the best work. And this is true in comics and in toys, in lots of things, podcasts, sports things, whatever, you name it. So thank you everybody for tuning in. I will see you guys next week. I will have an announcement with what toy line we're going to go with to talk about. Whatever we do, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'll have some fun guests. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. We're still doing the contest. If you subscribe to the channel, you get 2 free comics. If you've already subscribed, just come in and show me and get 2 free comics. Tell all your friends. If people have trouble sleeping, just watch this. 30 minutes should be out like a light, as I was by all my yawning. And be nice to each other. Be good to each other, because at the end of the day, we're all we've got. So until next week, I'll see you then. Yo, Joe, roll out. Heroes in a half shell. Knowing's half the battle. All that other good stuff. Got to come up with a good catchphrase. Maybe we'll make that a contest. I'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much.